What's up, everyone? Good morning to the audience in India and good evening to the audience here in the US. Welcome to the Patel and Kumar watch party. This is the fourth one that we're doing. We're here, game six between the Bucks and the Nets. Will Giannis and the Bucks force the game seven, or will Kevin Durant seal the deal and lead the Nets to the Eastern Conference Finals? So I'm your host, Shivam Patel. I'm actually at a new location right now in Dallas, Texas, but my Mr. Kumar, my other co-host, is in his usual location in Mumbai, India. So how's it going, Mr. Kumar? Good morning.
A very, very good morning, everyone, and namaste to our viewers. Welcome to Game 6 of the Nets versus Bucks, the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And what a virtuoso performance by Kevin Durant, bringing back his team from the brink. It would have been a totally different story if it was not for Kevin Durant. But the Game 6 is back in Milwaukee. And you know what? I'm just expecting it to go really close, and hopefully we get to see a game seven. But before I think we have a little bit of time for the start of the game, I think we can discuss what's happening around the league. And of course, a lot of news coming out with injuries, with a lot of coaches leaving, a lot of coaches getting sacked, and of course, a brilliant performance by Trey Young, making a huge comeback for the Atlanta Hawks, a 26-point deficit. I mean, that was one of the greatest team performances that you'll ever have in playoff history.
It was, and Ice Trey was on fire last night. He could not miss, and yeah, 26-point comeback. The game before they came back from 18 points in Atlanta. So it's just Doc Rivers just continuing to choke again, and let's see what's going to happen. Right now, Atlanta's up 3-2 with the opportunity to take home the series in Game 6. Mr. Kumar. So we'll see what happens with that series. Trey Young, Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Lou Williams, Capella. That's just been a whole team effort for the Atlanta Hawks. The Sixers don't really. I can't give them the excuse. Joel Embiid is hurt because he scored like 37 points, if I'm not mistaken, last night, Mr. Kumar. But Ben Simmons, 4 of 14 from the free throw line. Come on, if me and you could do better, Mr. Kumar. Like it was just embarrassing. The hack of Ben, and Sixers are right now a dumpster fire.
You're absolutely point on. I think it's uh, he was rookie of the year. He's an all-star, and you don't expect somebody like that to have, be in a situation like this. My only concern is how is he going to improve? He hasn't improved in the last 4 years since he joined the league, and I mean, he's too afraid to take a shot, and he's taking single-digit field goals even in the playoffs, and of course, I think he shot like one or two threes in the entire season.
Yeah, very few. It's like he's just afraid to touch. And yes, he plays great defense. We want to go give him credit for that. Hitish, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. He's saying, let's go, Kevin Durant. And I like his earlier comment. I think Ben Simmons fears taking free throws more than fearing COVID 19. Yeah, that's certainly the case. But thank you, Hitish, and everybody, ladies and gentlemen. We have a star packed watch party. At the end of the first quarter, NBA radio analyst Justin Termine is going to be joining us. He's in Mr. Kumar's camp. He's going against the Brooklyn Nets. So let's see what's going to happen with that. And then also, we have Gautam Madhok and Kaushik with Hoopdarshan. It's going to be joining us at halftime. But Mr. Kumar, what about the other series? What do you think about the Jazz and the Clippers before we get started with the game in the Bucks and the Nets?
I think people had written off the Clippers once Kawhi Leonard got injured, but pandemic P has turned into playoff P, and that's a good sign for the Clippers. Basically, it just shows me like what kind of uh, mentality that Paul George has. He's been given a lot of flack last season. He's also had a few mixed games this season. Not shooting well in the playoffs, but he really carried the responsibility of taking this team over the hump and beating the Utah Jazz in Utah. It's just an impossible feat. I think they have lost like four times during the entire regular season. So it just this is the kind of performance that basically changes the mentality of the entire team. But you got to give kudos to Marcus Morris Sr.
Yeah.
and Reggie Jackson, also for giving that great support to Paul George.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you, Mr. Kumar. It was a more of a supporting cast. Paul George kind of led them. He was awesome. He's trying to retire that nickname Pandemic P, trying to become Playoff P. I love how aggressive he was. He was not fearful at all, getting to the foul line, scoring at all three levels. But Mr. Kumar, for the Clippers, they have to win Game 6 because if they have to go back to Utah for a Game 7, it's a wrap. The Jazz are going to win. It's hard to win already once in Utah. To do it twice, I don't know about you, but I just don't see that happening. But I want to give a quick shout out to Vernon Liu. Thank you so much for tuning in. He's from San Antonio. He's a family friend of the Patels. He said KD is the best. Appreciate you, Vernon Liu, for tuning in. But Mr. Kumar, I think it's a winner go home game, for the Clippers. It's pressure, to win this Game 6 to avoid the series going back to Utah.
It is. It is. But before we get on more, we just like to tell everybody there is a contest going on today, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
you got to do is comment here or on our Instagram handle at Patel and Kumar. All you need to do is pick out the winner and, of course, the score line, and whoever is closest to that particular score line will stand a chance to win a giveaway from the Patel and Kumar. So every all of you folks out there tuning in bright and early in the morning in India, and of course evening in the US, here's your chance. Do that before the end of the third quarter, and we'll be announcing the winners right after the end of the game. So come
Yeah.
on, folks, get the score
We
line
want to see you in
going,
the
get the winners
comments.
game.
Let's see your score. Let's see who's going to win. Continue to put your chats also. We're going to make this as fun as possible. Me and Mr. Kumar love the engagement. We might go heated a little bit back and forth, as the game starts going. We're exchanging pleasantries now, but it might get intense. But yeah, enter the contest again, like Mr. Kumar said perfectly. Put your score, what team's going to win, and your margin of victory. But just before we start, what's your prediction, Mr. Kumar? For me, I'm going to give mine real quick. I say the Nets are going to take it home 116 to 111.
Well, I'm going to go with the Bucks because that's what I picked them in the pick 'em as well. If I start changing my stance, it's going to be looking like I'm joining the Nets bandwagon. I do not want to do that. So I'm going to go with the Bucks, and the score is going to be 111 to 107.
Okay. Okay, we both are predicting very close games. Let's see what's going to happen. So let's see how Giannis bounces back. See how True Holiday and Chris Middleton playing. Of course, Harden is coming off, the first game with the hamstring injury. So let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, shout out to Eklavias for making this contest and for helping us with this watch party, putting this on. So major shout out to Eklavias, and be sure to check them out on their website. And Hitesh should say, do I need to share my prediction of the winner right now? No, Hitesh, as long as you put it, Mr. Kumar, I believe is what, by the end of the third quarter?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you have time, Hitesh, so think about it, let it marinate, and then let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, what's going to change for the Bucks? They were leading. They were leading by almost 16 points in that third quarter, but that great run by the Brooklyn Nets, especially with the help Kevin Durant got from Jeff Green. Without his support, I don't think they could have won this game.
I agree.
And I'm a little bit surprised by the coaching tactics by Budenholzer. I know PJ Tucker is considered one of the best defenders, but I would have loved to see probably Giannis on KD for like maybe in that fourth quarter. And I mean, he's been the defensive player of the year, so he's got to be up for that challenge. If Because you can let somebody like Kevin Durant get into that rhythm. And you saw that. I mean, it was a 49-17-10 performance, which is probably one of the greatest performance in playoff.
It was. I think you make such a good point about the matchups. The Bucks just didn't play smart in all facets. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have a little rant here. The Bucks. They first of all they didn't get the ball inside to Brook Lopez. Come on, Mr. Kumar. Most of the game, Mike James was guarding him, like small Landry Shamit. Like they didn't get the ball inside. That was the first mistake. And there was even a play where Giannis was in the post at the end of the game against James Harden, who, remember, ladies and gentlemen, was on one leg. Okay, he had a hamstring. James Harden is literally calling off the double team, like, oh, no, I don't need help. I got this. And what does Giannis do? Instead of attacking the paint and getting to the free throw line, he takes a fall away jumper, which was not even close. That just epitomizes what the Bucks did not do to take advantage of the matchups, and I think that was a big problem why they won or why they were able to lose this last game, and the Nets were able to steal it with Kevin Durant.
Absolutely. So I just hope the game is back in Fiserv Center, and hopefully the Bucks get a little bit of extra energy from the crowd, and they are able to force a game 7. I'd be very, sad if the Bucks lose today,
I'll
and
be happy, but
because all my predictions are going haywire this season. But um, but you know, uh, but the Bucks, they're one of the few lucky teams that haven't really had any major injury concerns, except maybe DiVincenzo, who's hurt his leg, who's probably one of the starters. But they do have Pat Connaughton,
yeah,
uh, you know,
yeah.
uh, and PJ Tucker is always going to be there. So it's not a bigger worry for the Bucks. But yeah, Kyrie Irving hurting his ankle in Game 3. He was not there in Game 4, and you pretty much had a statue like James Harden in Game 5.
Yeah, I saw an ESPN stat that said he only ran 3.3 miles the entire game. He played 46 minutes out of 48. This was an ESPN second spectrum stat, which is his lowest amount of movement that has in a game in his career so far. That just tells you everything you needed to know. But quickly, just about the injury front, Mr. Kumar, the Bucks and the Hawks have to be the healthiest teams right now in the playoffs left. Of course, with the Hawks, they're missing DeAndre Hunter, but Gallinari has
I
stepped up.
think, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
sorry.
the
I
game
think the
started?
game is about to start.
Okay,
Let
okay,
me
you're a
just
little bit ahead. You're a little bit ahead of me, but go ahead.
yeah, the starting 5: James Harden, Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, and Kevin Durant for the Nets. And pretty much Drew Holiday, Middleton, Lopez, Antetokounmpo, and PJ Tucker. They're starting 5 for the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm a little bit off my head because I'm not watching it on League Pass anymore. Finally, the Indian audience got a little bit lucky this playoff, having live coverage on Star Sports. So so I don't have to use up my internet bandwidth today morning to watch the game.
Hmm. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, Mr. Kumar is a little bit ahead of me as I'm just getting ready to see the tip off. I'm sure Mr. Kumar's game is probably already started. I'm sure, but yeah,
Yeah,
again,
just had the tip off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the Indian audience. They're able to watch the game, like Mr. Kumar said, on Star Sports, and they got this. So let's see what's going to happen as the tip off just started. So Bucks gain possession first.
And Brook Lopez with that opening shot for the Milwaukee Bucks, unable to get that in. And James Harden with the ball, and Chris Middleton guarding him. Jeff Green, a miss and a rebound by Antetokounmpo, who comes back and he goes inside and an easy layup. And that's the first points of the game for Antetokounmpo, 2-0 for the Milwaukee Bucks, and a turnover here by the Brooklyn Nets.
I like that Antetokounmpo is already trying to have that attack first mindset rather than settling. Get to the basket, force the defense to collapse, and try to draw the Nets in foul trouble. But he takes a
Yeah, and
jump shot here and he misses. So come
yeah,
on, one jump shot, one shot in the lane.
he gets the rebound back and tries to go inside, but misses the handle, and a turnover. So turnovers to start the game for both teams.
Yeah, turn exactly. So let's see which teams can take care of the ball. That's going to be the key to victory.
So another three attempt by Joe Harris. He's been really off this entire postseason. He came came into this playoff after having been the highest percentage shooter from three. Brook Lopez once more from three. I don't understand this tactic by the Bucks
Get the
in terms
ball
of Brook.
inside. Use your advantage. I don't get it at all either.
Another three attempt by the Brooklyn Nets. Jeff Green from the corner.
Miss. His shots have not even
And
been close.
Brook Lopez from inside. Another 2 points from the
It's
paint.
good. 4-0 Milwaukee Bucks. We played 2 minutes so far in the game. Crowd getting into it. And let's see, Kevin Durant finally gets the ball against PJ Tucker. It's a screen with Blake Griffin. Kevin Durant with the mid-range shot. It's good. 4-2 Brooklyn Nets. That's his spot, Mr. Kumar. That mid-range.
Man, I mean, the entire court is his spot. That's how he was. Once again, Brook Lopez with a third attempt from three and another miss.
He's trying to shoot them out of the game, it looks like, early.
4-2 in favor of Milwaukee. Both teams not really shooting well from the three so far, but it's just early stages.
Yeah. Let's see
what another steal. Another steal by and
that was Brook Lopez
from inside the paint makes it 6-2.
Blake Griffin had no chance there. He buried him too deep with a nice shot by Antetokounmpo. Great job running the floor and great defense by Brook Lopez.
Another turnover for James Harden. Steal by Drew Holiday. PJ Tucker from the center, unable to convert that three.
That's not his spot. He needs to be in the corner.
I know. Another three attempt by Brooklyn Nets. Wow, they're shooting awful. I think they're like 1 of 6 to start with.
Yeah.
And a foul on James Harden. And Chris Middleton will go to the line.
He just got him up in the air, forced him to bite, and with the contact. So great play by Chris Middleton. I like his aggression so far early in this game.
Almost three turnovers for Brooklyn Nets already in this game to start with. Not a good sign if you are a Brooklyn Nets fan.
Yeah, 3 turnovers in 3 minutes, basically. Middleton makes the first, 7-2 Milwaukee Bucks. As Harden is trying to direct the offense here, and Middleton makes the second one, 8-2.
A good start for the Bucks. Harden with the ball. Kevin Durant gets it inside. And another turnover there. Try to pass it to Joe Harris. And another miss by the Bucks. Both teams, shooting really bad from the field so far.
I did not like that pull-up shot, Mr. Kumar. He had an advantage by True Holiday.
Another block by Brook Lopez. And one for Antetokounmpo. 10-2, and he will go to the line to shoot a free throw.
Not a good start here by the Brooklyn Nets, but hey, Nets have started slow pretty much every game this series. So let's see if they can get it back into gear and get going later in this game.
I mean, I like the defensive intensity of the Milwaukee Bucks. I just hope they consistently continue to do those right things throughout the entire game, because you saw what happened in the third and fourth quarter in the last game. I mean, they were very good in the first half, and they just let go of that intensity and let Brooklyn Nets come back into the game.
You know what I also like, Mr. Kumar? They're playing fast. They're not walking the ball up the court. They're trying to get into transition, try to get easy buckets, try to get ahead of this Brooklyn Nets defense. So major kudos to the Milwaukee Bucks so far.
So we've already had, the first prediction from Hitesh. No, I
Oh
think
yeah,
Ekalavyas has made the first start to the prediction by saying that the Bucks are going to win by 20. Wow, James Harden with a three. So he shoots his first 3-point conversion in this playoffs series.
James, let's go. It's a great sign for a Brooklyn Nets fan. But Brooke Lopez comes back and makes a shot in the paint. 13-5 Milwaukee Bucks. Is he gonna? Let's see. Oh, let's hope not. As a Brooklyn Nets fan, I hope James Harden doesn't go 1 of 10 again.
Well, Kevin Durant over PJ Tucker, not this time.
Has he
Rebound by
taken?
Antetokounmpo.
Was that his first shot, Mr. Kumar?
Second one, he converted the first one.
Okay. Blake Griffin
Drew
daring.
Holiday over Blake Griffin from that mid-range, just outside the paint, makes it 15-5, a 10-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks right at the start, with almost half the quarter gone by.
Yep. Here comes Kevin Durant. Pull up three. Ooh, hits the back of the rim. No
Drew
good.
Holiday at the other end with a three, makes it an 18-5 run, and Steve Nash is forced to take a timeout.
18-5 Milwaukee Bucks. The crowd is really into it so far. They're liking what they're seeing from their Bucks. As the Bucks get an early lead, we're halfway through this first quarter.
So good start by the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday, Antetokounmpo, and of course Brook Lopez. I'm really not liking, him taking a lot of threes. I still feel he should probably, dominate from the paint because of the size advantage that the Bucks will have. But good start for Drew Holiday. He's also had a couple of steals early in this first quarter. So continuing their defensive mindset, I think that's what works for the Milwaukee Bucks. I just hope, as I said, they keep doing that throughout the, four quarters and put pressure on the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, the keys to this game so far are defense, turning the ball over, attacking the paint, and getting in transition. And the Bucks are doing everything. But as we're in the timeout, before we get back to the game, I just wanted to cover some other NBA news that's been going on so far. Of course, we know Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers feel that it's an ACL injury. He's out already for Game 6. Chris Paul testing positive for COVID-19. We don't know his status, in the Western Conference Finals. Donnie Nelson in the front office side, parts ways with the Dallas Mavericks. And Rick Carlisle gets parts ways with the Dallas Mavericks today. Scott Brooks got fired yesterday, as well as Stan Van Gundy. So a lot of news in the NBA so far in this 48 hours, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, a little bit of a situation brewing in Dallas with also Donnie Nelson, their general manager, who decided to part ways as well. And Luka commenting on that, especially because Donnie Nelson was the guy to draft Luka. And Luka is, eligible for a max contract extension as well. He'll probably be the first rookie to have an extension of more than 200 million plus. Hitesh, you're not Luka. That's the problem. I know there's a lot of speculation, but knowing Mark Cuban, I don't think he'll really move Luka out of Dallas because he's their cash cow.
He's a star.
Maybe they ship out the baby unicorn Porzingis.
He's not any kind of unicorn right now. He's just Porzingis.
And maybe surround Luka with better players, but I just don't see Luka moving to another team. I know there have been a lot of speculation that he's going to the Lakers, but I don't think the Lakers have any chance of landing Luka especially where the contracts are.
No, I agree with that for sure. And the Mavericks had some decisions this summer. What are they going to do with Tim Hardaway? Then, like Mr. Kumar said, Are they going to try to trade, Kristaps Porzingis? And they need a new head of basketball operations and a coach. So we'll see what's going to happen. But it looks like we're back to the game, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, we're back to the game. Just a little bit of the highlight. A good, start by Antetokounmpo trying to dominate from inside the paint and not, really, going for those mid-range jumpers or three-point, games. So it's a good start.
It's a very good
Kevin
start.
Durant.
Yeah, Bucks. The Nets right now 1 of 6 from 3 and 4 turnovers. Not a recipe for winning a game. 6.
Kevin Durant, a good turnaround jumper on Chris Middleton.
Butter,
Makes
money.
it an 18-cent. Steal by Jeff Green. Kevin Durant at the other end coming in. James Harden getting doubled by PJ Tucker. Once again, I think it's the Kevin Durant once again. 2 quick baskets for Kevin Durant. He's already had 6 points out of the 9 for Brooklyn Nets.
That's a mismatch any day of the year. Chris Middleton on Kevin Durant, 6'7" on 7 foot. Kevin Durant took him to the torture chamber and is able to finish 9-8, 18-9 Milwaukee Bucks.
PJ Tucker with an air ball from the corner.
Maybe that was partially blocked by Harden. I don't.
James Harden, Antetokounmpo getting the switch back to Kevin Durant. That's the staple diet that the Brooklyn Nets are going to have. Kevin Durant, but this time he misses.
He's human, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, of course. Steal by James Harden. So good start for Brooklyn Nets coming out of the timeout.
No, I said because when we say the word Kevin Durant and miss, it just hasn't been happening lately. So that's why I said that.
He did shoot, I think, 65% from the field. And Blake Griffin with that 3 makes it, 7-0 run for the Brooklyn Nets.
And a quick timeout.
Mike Budenholzer takes that timeout.
Yep. Aloysius, what's up? Good morning to you. He's saying, Giannis, step up, man. Yep, Mr. Kumar and Aloysius are both hoping that Giannis Antetokounmpo plays like a 2-time MVP tonight and brings the Bucks to victory. So back on to the NBA news as we're in a timeout right now. Also, there was a report, Mr. Kumar, this morning that Zion Williamson said that a couple of his family members are not happy that he's with the New Orleans Pelicans. They felt like they're not putting enough pieces around him, with the instability. Now it's going to be 3 coaches in 3 years for a young player. So that's something to watch out for. He's barely finished his 2nd year in the league. So some interesting news there on Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic about 2 young stars personally maybe being unhappy so far, with the team that they're playing for.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's but natural. I mean, he is considered one of the top stars, in the league. And, so this is his 2nd season. He's had a breakout season, so it's just natural. They have some good young stars in that team. At the beginning of the season, I did pick them to probably break into the top 8 and probably either play in the play-in tournament and try to qualify for the playoffs. But a little bit surprising result there, especially with Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. He was the most improved player last season. Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart. So I mean, I think they had a decent team. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by the change in mentality of the GM David Griffin, sacking Stan Van Gundy. But to start with, I wasn't really gung ho about Stan Van Gundy as a coach.
Same here. Exactly right. I thought his old school mentality will not work. Right now, the average age of the Pelicans roster last year was 24.3, and Sam Van Gundy is like an older coach, so I don't think his philosophy, I think his message was already wearing off. He was losing the locker room. So I think you hit it on the money. I was not crazy about that either, but now he's gone after one season. But just before we get back to action, Mr. Kumar, there is 8 coaching vacancies right now in the NBA. The Portland Trailblazers, the Boston Celtics, Orlando Magic, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Indiana Pacers, the Washington Wizards. I may be forgetting a couple of others, but right now there's 8 right now, and that's a lot. So it's going to be a crazy offseason in the coaching front.
Yeah, I think, but the most interesting, uh, you know, coaching carousel that we may see is probably Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Both are, uh, you know, uh, contender teams, as you would say. I mean, they've been in the playoffs. They've, really given a tough time to their opponents. Especially Portland Trailblazers. They've always looked good, in the regular season, but they're always expected to go a little bit further in the playoffs, but they just haven't really gone beyond that hump. Other than I think about 3 or 4 years ago when they reached the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, just two other quick points before we get back to the game. That there might be two others. Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers fire Doc Rivers, and maybe the Bucks fire Mike Budenholzer. We'll see. But let's go back to the game, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, Brook Lopez from inside, not getting a roll, but getting a tip in. So 20-12, the score.
Nice second effort and getting into the paint by Brook Lopez. That's where he needs to be all game. Just dominate, use his size, use his length, and really be able to dominate the smaller Brooklyn players.
Kevin Durant trying that fade away from the corner, unable to convert. Drew Holiday, another 3 attempt, fails, and a rebound by the Brooklyn Nets. So Mike Jones coming in place of Harden after that timeout. Blake Griffin with another 3.
I wanted to talk about Aloysius' point real quick. He's saying I'm always showed up in a Bucks jersey, but I switched to Brooklyn. No, Aloysius, a couple of times I have worn a Bucks jersey, but that's mainly to support Giannis. Because I'm a big fan of his. But I've always, as Hittish said, Mr. Kumar can vouch for me at this. At the beginning of the year, I said the Brooklyn Nets were gonna, go to the finals and win the championship. So I've always been a Brooklyn Nets fan, but I just wear the Milwaukee jersey to support Giannis. But thank you, Aloysius, for tuning in and watching the show.
Another left-hand layup for Kevin Durant. Taking it inside.
That was spicy.
2014.
He put some masala on that, Mr. Kumar.
Yes, the tadka. And Drew Holiday dominating inside, going inside and converting that easy layup. So Landry Shamet and James Harden coming back.
Yeah, we make some substitutions here as Kevin Durant, they're showing the replay with a crossover on Brook Lopez with the nice finish. Put some nice English on that but Holiday comes right back on Blake Griffin with the attack to the basket and finish with the right hand. So 2 nice finishes by Kevin Durant and Drew Holiday. And Mike James checks into the game, Mr. Kumar, and Landry Shamet. And Pat Connaughton comes in for the Milwaukee Bucks. And Green misses the 3.
Yeah. Just to remind everybody, we have the predict and win contest. The winner and the score line is what you need to predict before the start of the fourth quarter or at the end of the third quarter. And you stand a chance to win a gift voucher on behalf of the Patel and Kumar show. So here's your chance, man. Come on, everybody.
I want to see you in the comments. Get your coffee. Come to the P&K watch party. Let's have some fun together and enjoy this game 6. I know Mr. Kumar has his coffee mug with him right now. So, yep.
Coffee in a flask, thanks to my wife who woke up early in the morning.
Hey, shout out to Mr. Kumar's wife.
Hey, and shout out because it's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mrs. Kumar.
So yeah, happy birthday, and I had to disturb her on a very early morning on her birthday to go and make some coffee. But I'm gonna enjoy that.
Where's your daughter, Mr. Kumar? Is she awake or she's still
No,
asleep?
no, no. I think she's also disappointed that LeBron didn't go on to win, so she's pretty much off the NBA bandwagon now. Connaughton with another three attempt, but unable to convert. 14-23, a 9-point lead.
Aloysius, yes, I agree with you for sure. He said, I'm the biggest fan of Giannis in India, but I think Brooklyn will walk away with this. Aloysius, do you think they'll win this game, game six, or do you think they'll win game seven? Aloysius, put before the end of the third quarter, put your score prediction by the margin of victory, and then put who you think is going to win for a chance to be part of this giveaway. We want to hear from you, Aloysius, what your prediction is from this game. And of course, everybody else, thank you again for joining us this early morning.
Yeah, and Milwaukee going into a little bit of a zone defense. Jeff Green has no chance of guarding Antetokounmpo with that easy layup with the left. 1 minute to go for the end of this quarter, and it's the largest lead, 11 points for and Kevin Durant continues his dominance with
Giannis
another
cannot guard him,
two.
Mr. Kumar. Giannis said he wanted to guard him, but he just can't. Kevin Durant's just too skilled.
I think it's a problem, pretty much for all the stars. I mean, in today's league. I mean, it's very hard for them to
What?
consistently defend. Yeah, I know there's a foul call there, and Giannis will go to the line. But
He didn't touch it, Mr. Kumar. Where was the foul on that play? He just missed it.
yeah, but this is the Kevin Durant here and getting the switch on Jeff Green. This is the earlier basket. They're showing the replay of that, but Giannis goes to the line. But as I was
But it
saying,
might
I
be
think
good as a Brooklyn Nets fan to put Giannis at the line. That might actually work out for us. So,
yeah, like hack a Ben.
don't even get me started on Ben Simmons. Oh God, I have his jersey, Mr. Kumar. I'm gonna go burn his jersey if he continues to struggle.
Well, he's one of one from the line, I think. If I'm not sure.
Oh, he misses the first one.
Yep.
There was no foul on that play, but it's okay. Well,
But a good start for Giannis, who has been 4 of 5 from the field. Uh, I mean, pretty much the only shot he missed was just outside the D. So he has been like, 4 of 4 from. He misses both the free throws. PJ Tucker almost steals that ball.
that's a win for the Brooklyn Nets.
30 seconds. Jeff Green finally converts, and it's 19-25, 6 point.
Nice shot, Jeff Green leaving off where he was, in Game 5. He had 27 points in that game, 8 of 9 from three. But nice three by Jeff Green.
And a blocking foul. Jeff Green.
Oh, that was a charge. He established position.
I think it's a very dicey call because he was right inside the paint, so maybe he was inside the no charge zone.
Come on. Steve Nash does not agree with that call there, as he thought Jeff Green established position beforehand. Look, he was already set, Mr. Kumar, and Giannis put his elbow into him.
No, but you're seeing from the replay, you can see that Giannis was trying to go from the side, and there was a little bit of a slide from Jeff Green. So that's one of the reasons why it's called a blocking foul instead of a charge on Antetokounmpo.
But no challenge from Steve Nash this early in the game. Keep that challenge for later. So
yeah, and it's only 4 seconds left. In the for the end of this quarter, and you would have to waste a timeout if you have to call for a challenge.
but Giannis makes the first free throw. Nice form by Giannis. Good rotation on the ball as he was able to convert. So let's see what he does on the second free throw.
So Thanasis Antetokounmpo coming in for uh, Milwaukee Bucks with 4 seconds left.
Oh, he misses the second.
Oh, and right at the buzzer, and the referees wave it off.
Of course, the Brooklyn Nets luck. John Harris finally makes a three, but it doesn't count. Wow. That might be a sign.
Hey, while this game is going on a break, I'll also take a very quick break and be back with all you guys. And I think all of you think about the predict and win contest. Predict the score, and you stand a chance to win another gift voucher from Patel and Kumar. So just I think we also have a guest coming in, so I'll be back really quick.
All right, Mr. Kumar, go ahead. Yes, coming soon. So we have Sirius XM NBA radio host Justin Termine. So he is an NBA analyst, for Sirius XM. He has a week show on the weekdays with a former NBA player Eddie Johnson. I'm a longtime listener of that show, big fan. So I'm excited to have Justin Termine on with us in just a few minutes. Again, the voice of NBA Today. He's an NBA analyst, and let's see what he's going to have to say about this game. Very excited for him to be joining us and bringing some perspective into this game. But before we get to that, so yeah, again, the Bucks are able to have the lead, so far in this game, and I like that the Bucks are in attack mode. And even the threes that they're shooting, they're driving to the paint, forcing the defense to collapse, and kicking it out to the open shooters. I like that Brook Lopez is getting it inside, either in the post with this fadeaway jump shot, either getting rebounds, just dominating in the paint, trying to get the Brooklyn Nets into foul trouble. I like that Giannis has only taken 1 3. He's being super aggressive. He's already gone to the line. I believe he has 6 free throws already. So I really like the attack mentality, by Giannis Antetokounmpo, as we are getting ready to have Justin Termine again, the voice of NBA Today, NBA analyst, is going to be joining us in just a few minutes. We're very excited to have him join. Let's hear his thoughts so far about this game tonight, and about the other series too. In the NBA, because we have some very tight, compelling series that we're definitely going to be talking about. But let's see what he thinks about Giannis, his play, and the Bucks' play so far. But again, and there he is, the one and only Justin Termine. JT, good evening.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me jump on board here. I get to watch the game in the background, chat with you guys, so I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, no problem. Oh, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on, JT. We really appreciate you. So again, I'm a longtime listener of the show. I'm a big fan of you and Eddie on the NBA Today. But the first question is, JT, what do you think about this first quarter? What do you think about the Bucks attacking mentality so far?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been calling for, I think, this entire time, right? It's just for them to be aggressive and have Giannis not settle and go to the rim. I mean, you're still seeing a couple of outside shots from Lopez and from PJ Tucker. You'd like everything at the rim. I think that's the way that they need to go. But put a little pressure on that hamstring of James Harden, target him on the defensive end, and then offensively maybe drop back a little bit and focus your attention on other guys. Because I thought the most telling thing that maybe we've seen over the last couple of days is when Harden had that steal on Giannis and then he didn't put on the Jets, he sort of held back. That tells you all you need to know about the health here of Harden. So that's something that they really need to exploit, target, and make it a 5-on-4 game.
Yeah. Exactly. I definitely agree. And a big key also for the Milwaukee Bucks, as my co-host is back on right now. So it's the play of Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and True Holiday. So how do you think they've been playing so far? Because they're a big supporting cast. Because a lot of the defense is going to be focused on Giannis, JT. So what do you think about their performance so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think Drew is the guy that needs to step up, right? Because they bring him for the Bledsoe, and that's a huge upgrade. And defensively, clearly he's an elite defender. I mean, I voted for him first team all NBA defense in the vote that just came out a couple of days ago. But offensively, he really hasn't done as much as I think we anticipated or hoped for in the series. So he's going to clearly be a key here because it can't just be all Giannis. I mean, we tend to, as fans, put all the pressure on him. Middleton, Drew Holiday, Giannis got to carry the boatload. PJ Tucker's got to maybe hit a couple of corner threes, but mostly just focus on the defense of Kevin Durant. And really, I'd be stunned if Brooklyn, even though they're down 3-2, Milwaukee's down 3-2, I'd still be stunned if Brooklyn's able to win this because, especially with tonight, you figure, Durant was tremendous. Few people in NBA history have put a performance that Durant did the other day. Plus, you needed everything out of Jeff Green. I can't envision Jeff Green doing that again. So I think we're definitely headed for a Game 7. And, on paper, you would assume that Milwaukee win.
Well, JT, I hope you're wrong because I'm sporting the Brooklyn
Nets. I see that.
I'm a big Kevin Durant fan, so I'm hoping you're wrong on this.
Yeah, listen. The Durant game. That's what I wanted to see. Like, I got upset when he went to Golden State. I'm not happy he went to Brooklyn and teamed up with everybody. And the reason that we're so difficult on him, and he's even aware of the criticism, but I think it's a compliment to him. It's because we knew he was capable of doing stuff like he did the other night. And you kind of, you cheat yourself if you go team up with Steph and Dre and Clay, and then you go do the same thing in Brooklyn. Like, that's the type of stuff that he's capable of doing. So I wouldn't assume we see that twice in one series. Certainly not tonight, but what a fantastic performance.
Yeah, go ahead,
absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit surprised, especially in the regular season. They weren't Brooklyn Nets weren't considered for their defense, but they have somehow been able to defend this Milwaukee Bucks team. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I think part of it's them shooting themselves in the foot, Milwaukee, because they're settling for these outside shots. But yeah, you're right. They've been fantastic defensively as well. You want to give them the credit for being able to do that. But again, I think if they attack the basket like we wanted to see them do, like really every armchair coach has urged them to do. Mike Budenholzer, for some reason, hasn't done that. But I think if they attack the basket, there's no way that Brooklyn can stop them, at least consistently. But you're right. Brooklyn's been fantastic defensively. Part of that's Brooklyn and picking up the intensity a little bit. And the other part of that is Milwaukee just playing dumb basketball.
I definitely agree with you. I enjoyed you and Eddie's rant on the show about the dumb basketball of Milwaukee. And I also enjoyed your rant about Giannis guarding Kevin Durant because he was the defensive player of the year, JT, a couple of years ago. And do you expect that to happen, later in the game? Because I I agree. Like, I don't want to hear that excuse of, coach is not going to put me on him. Do you think Giannis is going to assert his will and say, I'm going to guard Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter?
Exactly. That's what the great players do is, the coaches are going to tell them what to do. They get, and I think I use this analogy. It's like you're on the team flight. If you want pizza, you get pizza. If you want steak, you get steak. Like, that guy's making every single decision within an organization. So if he wants to guard somebody, he is. If Giannis doesn't want to come out of a game, he's not coming out of a game. And I thought it was very telling the other day is where, it's my job to sort of get on some of these guys and analyze the games. Okay, but typically, you don't see that from current players getting on other current players. And you had like C.J. McCollum, Draymond Green, all questioning why Giannis wasn't guarding Kevin Durant. And by that, I don't mean guard him from start to finish, but pick your spots. If Durant's rolling, okay, then you take your turn. Or in the fourth quarter, there's a couple of big possessions. You take him for a little while. And we saw none of that from Giannis here last game, really all series. We didn't see it last year against Jimmy Butler. So I anticipate if this game is close, we get a couple of possessions for Giannis at least. We'll be on it.
Yeah, and that's a nice game going on between Drew Holiday and Antetokounmpo in this game. He's 5 of 5 from inside the paint, Antetokounmpo. So you can really see that, if he gets inside the paint, it's very hard to stop him. And I don't know why, Coach Budenholzer doesn't prescribe the same kind of strategy for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I agree. Just attack the entire time. It's flummoxing to me because he's a two-time MVP, and the reasons he's a two-time MVP, it's not because he plays like Steph or Clay or Reggie Miller or Ray Allen. He's a two-time MVP because he gets into the paint. I mean, the guy would not be in the NBA if we were focused on his outside game, right? He wouldn't be in the league. So
Yeah.
why are you shooting the threes? You shouldn't be doing it. You should be attacking as much as possible. Every once in a while, keep them honest with the three.
Yeah, and JT,
And
I love how the Bucks are becoming, attacking early in this game. They're getting turnovers. They're playing in transition. They're playing fast. They're not walking the ball up the court. They're trying to get ahead of this Brooklyn Nets defense. So I like the attack mentality. I like Brook Lopez is getting into the paint. So they're trying to get more points inside the paint and talk about using their advantage. Of this Brooklyn Nets team.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And using your defense to create some offense because
Yeah.
this is one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. It does look like as Harden hits another bucket here, at least on the
yep,
feed that I have, that he looks a lot better than he did in game 5, right? So I think you got to be excited about that, the fact that Harden looks a little bit better. But in regards to the mindset, yeah, I agree with you. Push it. And Brook Lopez needs to, I understand his games, from the perimeter, but I love the way that his brother plays. He's not the player that Brook is, but Robin with that little hook. I mean, if he added that to his repertoire, that would help his game significantly.
And JT, do you think the Nets are missing Kyrie Irving? A player that can bring the ball up court, direct the offense, get everybody in their right positions, or do you like Kevin Durant kind of playing that point and bringing the ball up court?
No, I mean, they miss Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie's a top, 15 player when he's got his head screwed on straight. Sometimes that's not the case. I think we know that, right? Is sometimes he gets into, they call it the bag, right? And he's into a little too much, even when he's out there on the floor. Never mind, maybe missing games sporadically throughout the season, but it gets a little bit too self-involved. But I thought he was fantastic during the postseason thus far. And when he's got it together, he's one of the top 15 players, if not one of the top 10 players in the NBA. So of course you're going to miss that, especially with the Harden injury. If Harden wasn't hurt, then honestly, I felt like they should have won game 3, which they didn't, and they let them off the hook. Game 4, even though they were trailing when Kyrie got hurt, I thought they were well on their way to winning. So yeah, I mean, they missed Kyrie clearly, and I don't think that they'll be able to win the title if maybe they get out of the series. I think they can get lucky. But in regards to winning a championship, not if you don't have Kyrie healthy.
Oh man, I don't want to hear that, JT.
Unless Harden turns it around. I mean, if Harden's healthy, then yeah, you can do it. But if Harden's going to be, compromised like this, and you have no Kyrie, I don't think they can do that.
I don't want to hear that.
well, at least we're seeing Kevin Durant taking some rest. At least in this game, he played all 48 minutes in the last game, and they needed all 48 minutes as well. But nice play here by Drew Holiday, who banks a shot, and the lead is back to 12.
And
Yeah.
JT,
Go ahead.
you've been very critical about the minutes, the Bucks players, rightfully so, with Giannis and some of the other starters. How much do they need to play, and how much do Budenholzer needs to keep them out there? I know they might get a little tired, but this is a win or go home game.
Look, of course. And like in a spot like this as well, your adrenaline takes over. And I'm not saying this from like my personal experience. Of course, I can't comment on something like that. But based off history and then based off the many people that you're talking to, it's, the amount of emotions that are in this game. You're not tired. You're tired during a practice. You're tired on the day off. You're not tired when you're out there caught up in the middle of the game. And to see, last year, Kyle Lowry playing 50-plus minutes at times in that Celtics-Raptors series where the games were going into double overtime. At his age, after already having a championship, Giannis is playing for his legacy. Chris Middleton, his legacy. Bud's coaching for his job. So you got to push it to the brink here, to the limit. Tonight, if it needs to be all 48, it needs to be all 48. And the next game as well in a game 7. Now, you can pick and choose your spots here. If it ends up being a 15, 20-point game at some time in the fourth quarter, I'm not saying, play him in the final 5 minutes, give him a little breather and prep for game 7. But until that's a guarantee, they got to be out there on the floor as much as possible.
You are right, and they've taken a little bit of a breather, a timeout here for the Milwaukee Bucks, and there was a foul in that last call against James Harden. James Harden has a little bit of a turnaround if you compare to his last game, where he probably had only one field goal conversion.
He couldn't do
And
much worse.
Yeah.
yeah, I think Coach Steve Nash thought that a one-legged James Harden was much better than Mike Jones in that game.
Mike James, yeah.
Mike
Yeah,
James,
and
sorry.
he would not have been if the Bucks attacked him appropriately. The Bucks didn't attack him appropriately. He would have been off the floor in 5-10 minutes. They targeted him on offense and they didn't guard him on defense.
Yeah.
But they didn't react to that for some reason. Even though you're probably sitting there in your homes watching it on television, going, why aren't they doing that? And you were obviously happy about that for Brooklyn. But I think everybody else was scratching their heads.
Yeah, and JT, let's talk about Kevin Durant. How great of a performance that was for him. 49 points. He had a triple double. Was that his greatest performance of his career? Out of any, with OKC, with the Sonics, with the Warriors, was that the best performance Kevin Durant has had in his career so far?
Yeah, I don't even think it was close. I mean, not even from a statistical perspective, but just what was on the line and what he was surrounded by. Because your back's up against the wall, and it reminded me of LeBron Game 6, 2012 against Boston. Now he was on the road in that situation. I think the circumstances were a little bit more even pressure packed because you had Chris Bosh, who was back healthy after I think it was a groin injury earlier on in that series. You had Wade out there. Like the expectations for that team were far greater than that of this Brooklyn team. But, the 45, 15, and 5 that LeBron gave you, statistically speaking, Durant did that and then some. To me, you could talk about the finals MVPs, the championships, that's stuff that was expected, right? You're joining Golden State, you're playing with Steph, you're playing with Clay. That's expected. You didn't do anything that we didn't think you were going to do. I think he did something we didn't expect him to do the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, a 49-point triple-double, in a must-win game, to me, not even close. Performance of his career.
And I would push back on you a little bit about the Warriors. Yes, he was with two other, superstars, but he was the best player on that team, and they needed him, JT. 2016, they gave up a 3-1 lead. So I think, that shot he hit in Game 3 in the finals with the magnitude of the moment, I think that was a very, close second. But I thought, Kevin Durant was the best player on that team for sure, and they needed him in order to win those championships.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I think it was Steph is the best player because he's the guy everybody kind of fed off of. He's the one that sacrificed. And I mean, saw what Steph was capable of doing this year, right? I mean, I had him second on my MVP ballot, but everybody sort of fed off him. And, part of it is the ego and putting that on the back burner and allowing Durant to come in there and shine and take over at times. And I thought that season as well, where Durant was fantastic in Game 3. It was the best game of the series by an individual. Steph was horrible and AD saved him in that one, but I thought overall in that finals the MVP should have been Steph.
Yeah. And then I want to ask you about your show, JT. You have a back and forth, with Eddie Johnson. So how much do you enjoy, doing those shows? You enjoy the back and forth that you have? Talk about that banner a little bit.
I love it. I get to go on the air every day and talk hoops. I mean, sometimes it gets a little frustrating because I think people, some people think it's a little bit of an act when Eddie and I are arguing, but that's not an act. And most of the time, it's stuff that's happened. Like if we're really going at it over the air, you can only imagine what it's like off the air once we get a break because it just carries over. So it's not a 3-hour show with 2 or 3 breaks an hour. It's straight through. It's a 3-hour show, and really it's a 24-hour show because it doesn't stop. It's something that just carries over, and then you just happen to be tuning in for the 3-hour allotment that we're on the air.
Yeah.
But it's really a 21-hour show between the two of us.
Yeah.
James Harden dominating in this quarter is looking to go inside, and this time his floater works, and the lead is a 9-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks with about 5 minutes remaining in this quarter. Drew Holiday, a step back, misses that one.
So JT, let's talk about the other playoff series right now that are happening. The Sixers and the Hawks, ultimate choke job by the Sixers, an 18-point lead and a 26-point lead. So how do you see that series going? Do you see the Sixers bouncing back, or do you think the Hawks will take care of business back in Atlanta at Game 6?
Well, I think that's the great part about the postseason this year is all of this stuff is shocking. I didn't expect the Nets to I know, and I addressed this on my show a little bit because it was my reaction to LeBron complaining about all the injuries and how it's cheating the fans. This is one of my favorite years to the postseason postseason because the injuries, but we don't know what to expect. I mean, we're going to have these teams in the Final Four that most people didn't anticipate. I mean, to have Phoenix involved, perhaps Utah involved. Then on the other side, Atlanta with the possibility. I mean, that's great, I think, for the sport and keeping more markets involved and allowing them to think they got an opportunity at the beginning. So, it's difficult for me to make a prediction. I mean, am I going to count out against Atlanta? Atlanta certainly can win. And that's where Philadelphia is playing with fire because we saw it the other day with Lou Williams, right? I mean, Lou Williams goes off and he gives you the 11 points, I believe, in the fourth quarter.
Something ridiculous. He was back to, lemon pepper Lou.
Exactly. And that's what's scary about the Philadelphia situation is they have like 5 or 6 guys that are capable of just going off on on scorchers, right? Where, Kevin Huerter's capable of giving you 20 plus points on 5 or 6 from 3. Lou Williams, what he did the other night. Gallinari, I think he did it earlier this year against Boston where he's like 9 to 12 from 3. What if that happens unexpectedly? In addition to Trae Young going off. So there's just so many guys on that team that could get hot and go 6 to 7 from 3 and cost you the game and now cost you the series because you got to win twice.
Yeah, exactly. And then last question, before we get you out of here, what about the Clippers Jazz? Clippers, no one expected the Clippers to win yesterday. Like you were saying, this postseason has been very crazy, very unexpected, but what a performance by Paul George. He's trying to retire that nickname, Pandemic P. But how do you see that series going, JT, with Game 6 back in LA?
Yeah, I mean, Paul George was fantastic last night, and the criticism was deserved when he got it the last couple of years. His playoff performances were not good, but deserving of the credit last night for what he did, and certainly over the course of this postseason because he's been fantastic. And he looks like the guy I think that we saw in Indiana several years ago. Before for some reason he started to take a big step back in big spots. But again, I mean, to count out the Clippers, I'm not going to do it. It's unfortunate with Kawhi. That they're in the spot that they are. They can't keep putting themselves behind the 8 ball. But with the Kawhi injury issue, I can tell you one thing: the Suns right now are rooting for the Clippers because not only would they have home court against the Clippers, they wouldn't have it against Utah, but also they're going to face a Clippers team, which Paul George might be able to win in 1 or 2 games. I'm not sure he can win an entire series without Kawhi.
Yeah. No, for sure. And JT, where can people find you? I know you have a Twitter. What's your Twitter handle and what's your Instagram handles?
At Termine Radio, at TERMINE Radio. So that's where people could find me on Twitter and Instagram. So it's the same thing. TERMINE Radio at Termine Radio. So look them up.
Go check him out. I love the show. Again, NBA Today on Sirius XM NBA Radio. JT is the host, best in the business. I love the back and forth between him and Eddie. Their show was awesome. I'm a long-time listener, but enjoy the rest of the game, JT.
Thanks, you guys as well. And I hope the setup was all right because you guys got fantastic setups here. So I'm not sure mine's a little dark, but I did the best.
And go Nets.
Yeah, good. Well, for your sake, I think I'm rooting for a Game 7.
I wouldn't mind seeing Game 7. Yep.
Thank you, JT. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Well, Mr. Kumar, as JT was on here, it was become a close game, 49-44.
Yeah, and James Harden, he looks like the old James Harden in this quarter. He's had a 3. He's had a few floaters from inside. He's going, attacking the basket, going to the free throw lane. Kevin Durant here with that last 3, cutting it to a 5-point lead. And looks like the Brooklyn Nets are coming back. And Chris Middleton with that 3, making it, an 8-point, of course, earlier. But Milwaukee Bucks aren't shooting really well from that 3. They were 6 of 14 for the Brooklyn Nets and just 3 of 12 for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. The Brooklyn Nets have ratcheted up the defense, making more shots. Harden is getting to the foul line. But Milwaukee Bucks, though, when made a couple threes, I believe Drew Holiday just drew a foul. So let's see what's going to happen here. Let's see if the Bucks can extend the lead, or the Brooklyn Nets can cut into this lead. Let's see what's going to happen.
Another timeout here there was a debatable call in the last, just before the timeout. looks like, a kickball or something, but both teams contesting that call. I really like, the referee if both teams are unhappy.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, both teams seems like nobody's ever happy. No NBA player has ever fouled in their life. But yeah, let's see what's going to happen. So I think it's been called pretty fairly both ways. I don't know what you think about that so far. It's been pretty good officiating so far and great play. By the players. By Giannis and Kevin Durant. Yeah. So let's see what's going to happen. But let's go over some of the top scores right now, Mr. Kumar. I believe right now for the Bucks, it's got to be Giannis, right, as the top scorer.
Yes, he is. He's got 17 points, and he's shooting 7 out of 8 from the field. That means he's 7 of 7 from inside the paint.
That's a great sign.
That's a great sign. And Drew Holiday has also been pretty okay. He's 5 of 10 from the field. He's gone for 11 points, and Chris Middleton has 11 points. Yeah. Whereas for the Brooklyn Nets, it's 13 points for Kevin Durant for 6 of 12 from the field. And I think the big revelation this game has been James Harden. He's 5 of 7 from the field for 14 points.
Yeah, James Harden, he looks like on that hamstring.
Yeah, and he's 3 of 4 from the 3-point line.
Wow. Last time in the last game, he was even close. It was all left, like completely. So great job by James Harden. Kevin Durant has his sidekick out there. So let's see what's going to happen. Again, so the top scorers, thank you, Ekalavias, for hooking us up again. Giannis with 17, Chris Middleton with 11, Drew Holiday with 11, and James Harden is having a good game so far. So let's see what's let's see what's going to happen as we're right now seeing Steve Nash in the huddle with his players. He's pretty intense. Keep playing hard, keep staying. Nets are right there. As poorly as they played, Mr. Kumar, it's kind of like last night with the Clippers. Jazz made 17 threes, but they're only down by 5. So the Brooklyn Nets can keep this deficit in single digits underneath 10 by halftime. I think they have a great shot in the second half.
They do. When it's so close, anything can happen. And you can always expect Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant and especially with James Harden also playing much better than what it was in the last game. They can easily make a comeback by just having a couple of stops, a couple of threes. You're right there, So it's just a 2-possession game as of now, a 6-point lead for, Milwaukee. Make that 7 after that free throw by Chris Middleton.
Yep. As the Brooklyn Nets are bringing it back up court, Jeff Green gets the ball to Blake Griffin. So field goals this quarter. Brooklyn is shooting 9 of 14 this quarter. Milwaukee 10 of 16. And Brooklyn has made 4 threes this quarter to 2 for Milwaukee. Kevin Durant gets
Blake Griffin with that tip-in makes it a 5-point game.
Ooh. Blake Griffin, Mr. Kumar, he's turning back the clock, defying father time. He's really had been a revelation for this Brooklyn Nets team.
For his first points outside the paint, Antetokounmpo.
You'll live with that. I'll take that as a Brooklyn Nets fan. Let him shoot that every time. You'll play the percentages. He'll make it every once in a while, but
that's good defense on Kevin Durant by PJ Tucker, but not a good block out by Antetokounmpo. Blake Griffin able to go and tip it in. So it's a 7-point game with 2 minutes left in the first half.
What was the call?
We will be having our friends from Hoopdarshan, Karan Madhok and Kaushik Lakshman, who will be joining us sometime during the halftime on getting their views about this game and also NBA and, of course, about Hoopdarshan as well.
We're very excited. We've already, in season one, we had Karan Madhok come as a guest. So if you want to go check out that interview, check it out on the Eklavias and Patel Pick and Roll Sports YouTube channel. So at that time, there wasn't looking good for the Knicks last year, but now Karan must be very happy. His Knicks have turned it around, making the playoffs this year. So, but yeah, like Mr. Kumar said, they're going to be talking about the playoffs and then their views about this game so far. So let's shout out to Hoopdarshan, who's going to be joining us in just a few minutes once we hit halftime. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a giveaway. So again, for the giveaway, in order to enter, you must predict the winner of the game, either the Bucks or the Nets, and then give the margin of victory and the final score line for the opportunity to get a giveaway from me and Mr. Kumar. So this is a great opportunity. Put your comments in the chat section before the end of the third quarter, and me and Mr. Kumar are going to reveal it at the end of the game. Hopefully, it'll be a happy Mr. Patel and a depressed Mr. Kumar after the Nets win this game. But we'll see. We'll see.
There's a referee review going on against PJ Tucker to see if it was a flagrant foul when he was trying to get ahead of that screen by Blake Griffin.
Let's see what they're going to call. The common foul is the ruling.
Well, I think it's a very bad call. I mean, it's just an accident. I mean, somebody's trying to get a screen and somebody's trying to move around.
I thought they called it common. Did they call it common or flagrant, Mr. Kumar?
I don't know. I think it's, common foul.
Yeah, common foul. I think he called it common foul, yeah. But I still don't agree with that. I don't think that was a foul, though, because both players have the right to their space. I thought it should have just been a play on. I agree with you. But we'll take it.
And Blake Griffin. Yeah, Blake Griffin converting that first free throw, making it a 6-point game.
Yep, PJ Tucker is barking at the ref. He is not agree with that call, but let's see what's going to happen.
So that's 11 points for Blake Griffin on a 4 of 6 shooting from the field. A good contribution from Blake Griffin and James Harden. This particular game.
So the whole big question was coming into this game, can Kevin Durant replicate that performance? And if he doesn't, who will join the party? Who will jump on the ship? And it looks like Blake Griffin has, and that the others are stepping up for the Nets as staying on this side. As a great hustle by PJ Tucker to be able to get that deflection.
Yeah, almost a tip in there by PJ Tucker. He's always fighting for that offensive rebound, And
they're both PJ Tucker and
Gumpo. Just Holiday with that three, and their woeful shooting from the 3-point line continues for.
I'm a big fan of Mr. Kumar. I'm a big fan of PJ Tucker and Kevin Durant because, first of all, they both attended UT, University I attended, so definitely a big fan of both of theirs. Come on, Joe. Man.
Chris Middleton with that three, making it an 8-point game with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in this second period for the end of the half. Kevin Durant. No, that was a desperate shot by Kevin Durant. I think he needs to attack more. Probably get a foul, go to the free throw line. That would be a better suited offense.
But he was
Chris
open,
Middleton.
Mr.
Once more. Oh, another three by Chris Middleton. Go ahead, Mr. Patel.
No, great shot by Chris Middleton. Nothing but net. You see Giannis really trust him. But I wanted to comment on that Kevin Durant shot. I actually didn't think it was a bad shot because they went underneath the screen, Mr. Kumar, so he was wide open, so.
No, but he's too far away from the 3-point line. I mean, and you have a lot of time on the shot clock. So I don't think it's a great shot. It's not a huge percentage shot. You would rather better off taking a better percentage of probability of conversion, So I would rather attack the paint or, have some ball movement, get the ball back at the post. That's what he's been doing all night. So maybe continue with that.
I don't get it. They just showed that replay that Chris Middleton second three. What was Harden thinking? He jumped because he thought Antetokounmpo was going to shoot that mid-range. Harden, you want him to shoot the mid-range. Did you fall asleep during the film session today? You leaving Chris Middleton? That just doesn't make sense.
Kevin Durant, see, he's going to the free throw line. He tried to get inside the paint, and that's a rare miss from the free throw line for Kevin Durant.
He's been struggling with free throws lately. He missed 3 against in Game 5. And so coming soon, again, the Hoopdarshan podcast. Kaushik and Karan are going to be joining us at halftime to get their thoughts about this game. So, all right, Kevin Durant with this about to shoot his second free throw. Are you serious? He missed both.
Wow. And another quick three attempt by the Milwaukee Bucks.
That was lucky. There was no foul there. That looked like he hit him on the hand.
PJ Tucker guarding Kevin Durant. He will run it slowly. Just 1 second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And Kevin Durant once again.
You need a bucket.
No, and just hits the front of the rim. And it's going to be 11-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks after the first half. And a good run by the Milwaukee Bucks on Chris Middleton's 2 3-pointers right at the end of this quarter to take the lead back 11. And the Milwaukee Bucks would feel a little bit happy that they're going in with a cushion of 11 points against the Brooklyn Nets.
You can see it on my face. I'm not happy about that last minute. That was a botched last minute. First of all, Kevin missed 2 free throws. The shot selection was awful. The defense was not good. I think I did not like that last minute, Mr. Kumar. They had a chance to dent into this lead, but now Bucks have an arm's distance with them. So hopefully the Nets can gain that momentum again, but that was not a good last minute for the Brooklyn Nets to end the first half.
Absolutely, and it's 59-48 in favor of Milwaukee Bucks. Again, to remind all you folks, predict and win contest is underway. You have one more quarter to predict your scores before the start of Q4 of this game. The winner and the scoreline is what you need to predict, and you stand a chance to win a gift voucher from Patel and Kumar. But let's try and get in our guests who are probably tuning in from across the seas, Karan Madhok and Kaushik from Hoopdarshan.
And I want before we get started, but you go ahead, Mr. Kumar.
Yay! Welcome, folks. Good morning or good evening, wherever you guys are.
Good morning, Vinod. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
So what kind of welcome is this? We land here and Shivam leaves. What's that all about?
Yeah,
I'm taking that personally. I'm doing the Michael Jordan meme. I'm taking that personally.
Yeah, it's 1 hour and 20 minutes that we've been going at it. So, we sometimes have to take like a bathroom break or a coffee break or a smoke break for some people like me.
Not allowed. You have to be machines.
That's the advantage of having something like a Hoopdarshan, because it's more like a podcast. You don't see yourself on video, so you might as well be in the toilet doing the podcast.
Our best podcasts come on the toilet, actually. There's like Kaushik and I, we make sure, we alternate. We won't both be on the toilet at the same time, but, one after the other.
Oh, yeah.
We stagger minutes like coaches do.
Yeah. Except that you don't hear the noise of the flush going in, right?
Hey, that's all editing from me.
It's the swish. It's the flush, the swish, the same sound.
Yes,
I'm glad that we're able to bring in potty humor within seconds to this Patel Kumar. I'm so proud of ourselves.
It's very on brand.
But Karan, are you in the US or are you back in India?
No, I'm in New Delhi.
Oh, okay. And yeah. Kaushik is in Australia, right?
Yes, I'm in Australia. I'm in a place where people kind of believe that COVID doesn't exist, but maybe Karan is in zombie land right now.
Hey, people in the US, you can see the arenas, they're all packed, and they believe that COVID doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's fully packed arenas. Thank you guys again for joining us, Karan and Kaushik. We appreciate you guys. Karan, this is the second time you're coming on as a Patel and Kumar show. You're much happier state because your Knicks made the playoffs, so I'm sure you were very happy about the Knicks.
Of course, it's been, despite that early sort of departure, this was an amazing season. I'm actually representing Stephon Marbury, great New York Knicks Stephon Marbury, but in his Beijing Ducks jersey.
Okay.
That's my one sort of deep cut here. Kaushik and I decided to go deep cuts with our jerseys here, so I'm in Beijing
Yep.
Ducks Marbury.
And I'm in a Real Madrid Luka Doncic jersey.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So very, very
Maybe
deep cuts.
maybe Luka Doncic is getting traded to Real Madrid now that Ramos is not there.
You're the
That-
only one. You're the only one not wearing a jersey, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, because the team that I represent is no longer in the playoffs, but it's okay.
So, what are you guys' thoughts about this first half so far? The Bucks, built out the early lead. The Nets kind of came back a little bit, but the Bucks were able to get a little bit of arm's distance and ended that first half strong. So, what were you guys' thoughts? How do you think Giannis played? How do you think the Bucks played overall?
You want to go first, Karan?
Sure. I mean, this is the response the Bucks had to have after the gut punch in the last game. I expected nothing less. Giannis and Middleton have both been pretty amazing, but I'm still not comfortable. If I'm in the locker room of Milwaukee, we've seen how these playoffs have gone. We've seen what Atlanta did to Philadelphia last night.
Yeah.
So nothing is easy at this point. Brooklyn are one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the playoffs. I think they're number 2 in 3-point shooting accuracy, and they have Kevin effing Durant. So I don't think anyone should be sitting down in the Bucks locker room. I think things are gonna get really tough in the second half.
Yeah, I don't really have too much else to add outside the fact that I thought that the script will play out the same as it did in the previous game, where the Bucks will race out to a lead and then the Nets sort of slowly ease back in. I think it happened sooner than I thought it would be, and I was a little bit worried there when the minutes where Durant was sitting, the Bucks completely lost the plot, and it felt like they were going to go into that shell of themselves quite soon. But I think they pulled through towards the end of the quarter to finish strong. So I'm excited for the second half.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give a big shout out to actually the Brooklyn Nets medical staff and masseuse, because James Harden is back on the court. I mean, he was pretty much like Salim Langda, I mean, that movie Salim Langde Pe Matro, but I mean that's how he was in the game last game. But this game he looks much more assertive. I mean, he's making those threes, he's going inside. So good support for Kevin Durant. So maybe Kevin Durant has a little bit more energy in terms of making a comeback for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, he has more help for sure. James Harden is playing well. Blake Griffin. We just need Joe Harris. What happened to Joe Harris? He's just been ice cold. He can't shoot the ball into the ocean. It's been horrible. And of course, the one shot that he makes doesn't count because it was a shot clock violation. But about the Bucks, what do you think, guys, about their attacking mentality? They seem like they're really focused on trying to get the ball into the paint, get the ball inside. Brook Lopez has had a nice couple of rebounds, some points in the paint. So what do you think about Bucks' mentality of just scoring in the paint and using their advantage?
Yeah, I reckon they've come out really strong today with the intention to not settle, right? And that's one thing you could blame them for in previous matches in the series. So they're really attacking the paint. It remains to be seen when the game gets really dirty in the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, whether they'll stick to that. But good intentions so far, I reckon.
Yeah. What about you, Karan?
I've been actually, I mean, obviously Giannis and Middleton are the leading scorers, but for me, I was really interested in seeing how Drew Holiday would respond. They spent so much to get him, and he has been exceptional in the regular season on both ends of the floor. I think our belief was that he's the one who would make them a good playoff team, quote unquote good playoff team. And he was, to be honest, pretty terrible offensively the last game. So for him to come out, be a little bit aggressive, I think he has 11 points. Yeah, 11 points. It might not seem much, but just his aggression makes a big difference. His offensive aggression makes a big difference, opens the space up for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, you're right on the money, because I really feel like, I mean, he's one of those two-way kind of players who can really be good on defense as well as facilitate that offense. I mean, he doesn't need to be scoring 25 points a game or something. He just needs to be in that 15 to 18 point range. Have eight to nine assists and maybe a couple of steals, and that's the stat line that you would be impressed with Holiday, and that's the reason that they have got him. And he is of course a much better addition to Eric Bledsoe.
He's a
who they
major
traded
upgrade.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and I think
but I
he
mean,
came in today with the mentality that he does not want to go on holidays just yet. So,
but I mean, I think the biggest concern is in terms of, you saw it last season as well with the Miami Heat. Just the outside shooting for Giannis. He needs to work on it. He needs to work on his free throws. I've never seen a referee calling a 10-second violation on
It
the
happened
free throw line
twice.
ever, and it happened twice.
But I don't think that they're basically daring him to shoot, and he's falling for that trap. It just doesn't. I don't get his mentality. But go ahead and look at you wanted to say something.
Oh no, just following up on what Vinod brought up about the free throw thing. It's always an adventure. I get nervous watching Giannis. Like I'm not either way with this series. Like I'm kind of I vacillate between rooting for both teams. I don't really care that much, but I feel so bad when Giannis on the free throw line because it's like it's like watching an entire like Bollywood comic tragedy. Like things are going high, things are going low. You think the hero's gonna win, the hero loses in the end. It's just it's too much for me to handle. My mom would be crying by the end of just one line to that 1 minute at the free throw line. So he needs to
Sometimes he
work on that.
airballs it. Sometimes he'll swish it. Sometimes he'll airball it. It'll just I don't know.
And the 3-pointers, like Kaushik and I in our we have like a group chat and we talk about the 3-pointers all the time. Like, why is he settling for these attack? Because when he does attack, when he puts it down his head of steam, he's one of the greatest of all time at that very specific thing. Getting the ball at the top of the key, just attacking, just like destroying everyone in his way.
Yeah.
So more of that. If I'm Giannis, if I'm the Bucks.
Yeah. And I also wanted to let's talk about the Bucks defense. It seems like they're playing a lot better defense on the pick and roll. They're forcing the ball out of Kevin Durant's hands. They're not letting him beat him. They're playing much more swarming defense. Getting deflections, much more active. So talk about how effective this Bucks defense has been so far, and what they need to do to continue to stop the Brooklyn Nets. From effectively scoring and just taking over this game.
yeah, I think you can't stop Kevin Durant, right? You can only do your best to try and slow him down. And I don't know if the Bucks have necessarily nailed that as a strategy until now. And we were all really frustrated, and I'm sure like Karan and I were, and I'm sure you guys were as well at the end of the last game. Like, why wasn't Giannis guarding Kevin Durant in the last few minutes, right?
Exactly.
Like, it just didn't make sense. I think they went to it maybe like 1 or 2 possessions so far, and hope to see more of that, especially when he starts cooking in the third and the fourth.
No, but yeah. So what I generally feel is that what happens in the regular season and what happens in the playoffs, it's a totally different story altogether. And people get defensive player of the year. You saw that yesterday against Rudy Gobert. As Nick Wright said, he was a 7-foot statue yesterday against the Clippers, and especially with Leonard out, and but that's what happens. You get defensive player of the year for regular season because the game is so different. The game is so different. Whereas, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Whether Giannis takes him or whether it's LeBron James or anybody for that matter, I think he would have scored 49 points.
Yeah, but it's the message you want to send across, right? Like,
Exactly.
as the leader of the Bucks, you want to be like, I've got this, and he just may be physically post equipped to handle Kevin Durant as well. Like I said, you're not going to slow him down. It's the mentality that you have, it's the message that you send to your teammates, and what that sort of inspires the rest of the guys.
And Giannis can, he's as tall as Kevin Durant. Maybe Durant's a couple of inches taller, but at least he can contest his shot better, and play a little bit physical with him because he's a little bigger than a Middleton and of course PJ Tucker. But PJ Tucker is just, he tries, but he just doesn't have the size. He's only like 6'6". So I would like to see Giannis to say, okay, forget about what Coach Budenholzer says. I'm going to just guard him. I'm going to stop him, and I'm going to take this game over. But what are you guys' predictions for this game?
Kaushik, do you want to take this first?
Yeah, sure. It's hard. I think like if we base it on everything we've seen so far in the series, right? It means it's going to be a really ugly game, and in an ugly game, I trust a team with Kevin Durant more than a team with no Kevin Durant. So I'm going to lean into the Nets, but
Yes.
you can never say.
Let's go. What about you, Karan?
I'm gonna say that the Milwaukee defense will actually they have actually been closing out games defensively. So I think it will get ugly. I agree with Kaushik on that. I think things are it's gonna be one of these like 91-88 by the end. Like both teams will find it difficult to score,
Yeah.
and I feel Milwaukee will win, but they won't feel good about it. Like they'll win and they'll leave the arena being kind of embarrassed with themselves, even despite winning. I think that's my prediction for this game.
Okay. What about the other series, guys? The Sixers and the Hawks. What's you guys' predictions on that? I know that series. When you think you have a hold of who's going to win that series, you think like after Game 3, okay, the Sixers are going to take control of that series. But what happened? Joel misses a layup, opportunity to go up 3-1, and the Hawks steal 2 games. So, what is your pulse on that series? Who's going to win?
I feel that if for the fourth quarter of any Philadelphia game, if I take Ben Simmons's place, they have a better chance of winning. Just for the fourth quarter, he's obviously like at least 1.5 times better than a basketball player than I am, at least. But for fourth quarters of every series, I'm making that jumper. Or at least I'm taking that jumper. I'm not saying I'm making it, but I'm going to take that shot. So
Yeah, you got to take the shot to make it, right?
But I mean, show Ben Simmons. What the hell? Does Ben Simmons listen to this podcast?
So the second half has started with Brooklyn Nets bringing up the ball. But on another note about Ben Simmons, is it all just kind of media hype when people make him an all-star, make him
No, he's a
probably
3-time All-Star though.
Yeah, a defensive player of the year, and then he can shoot for nuts. I mean, as you said, I mean, Karan, if you can be playing, I can be playing too. Because, I mean, I consider myself a better player than you are, but that's a whole different argument altogether. but
I'm a better player than Mr. Kumar, so I can take it on these.
Hey, look, we should do a Hoopdarshan versus Patel and Kumar 2-on-2 at some point.
Oh yeah, and maybe
We might beat you in butter chicken eating.
Maybe get one more person and get a 3-on-3 going. But
Kaushik,
I mean,
Mr. Kumar would be the Ben Simmons of our team. He would be the liability.
That's cold. That's mean. No, but Vinod, to go back to what you were saying, I mean, at the end of the day, the defensive player of the year doesn't have to be. For example, Ben Wallace won multiple defensive player of the years in the 2000s. I think Ben Simmons is that kind of a player. It's just that in today's era, we expect a perimeter ball handler to be a good shooter too. But Ben Simmons is kind of an old school player. So I still think he's an excellent player. I think he's probably one of the best defenders in the league. He's one of the best floor generals in the league. But we expect him to be a complete player, which most of the superstars are, which he isn't. And I think the sooner we expect it, the happier we'll be with his shortcomings, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. And then to add to that, I think he's not a half-court player, right? And playoff is a half-court game. He's excellent in transition, probably one of the best in the league, but that's not playoff basketball. So the limitations, they start showing you up in the playoffs.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, even Chris Paul was considered like a very like a floor general, facilitating, not good among points and stuff, but he has transformed his game at age 36. I mean, he's become a scorer. He's trying to get inside. He's trying to shoot those threes. And here you have a point guard who is even afraid to take a field goal. I mean, he's had single-digit field goal attempts, like 4, 5 in the entire game. I mean, for me, that's a liability right from the start. If you're in a contending team for the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, CP3 has always been a scorer. I would say early in his career, I think even his rookie season, he'd average like 16, 17 points a game. He's never been like a Kevin Durant, but he's been able to make that mid-range since he, I think, came out of the womb. Like he just came in and shot that shot. So with Simmons, I think he is who he is. I'm not defending him, but I almost feel we have to look at him the way we look at a Rudy Gobert or a Ben Wallace. Like
Yeah,
he's an excellent defender, but he's one of those guys who can also handle the ball well.
yeah.
And it's we're gonna be disappointed every game, but that is him.
Yeah. Gutter, my reaction wasn't what you were saying. It was just Joe Harris, just how awful he's been. He just got swatted by Brooke Lopez. He's just been just awful. It's just I can't watch it anymore. He just needs to bench him in the fourth quarter like he did in game 5. Bring in Shamet. Landry Shamet brought them a good spark. He made some threes. So I would like to see more Landry Shamet and Jeff Green.
A 10-point game so far, 64-54 in favor of Milwaukee Bucks. Kevin Durant here going inside, and Blake Griffin gets hacked by Lopez, and he will go to the free throw lane.
And Kaushik and Karan, I think the Nets just need to just stay in this game. Would it be within striking distance? If you're within 10 points in the fourth quarter, I feel like the palms will get a little sweaty for the Bucks. They'll be a little nervous, like, okay, we're in front of our home crowd. We're expected to win this game. That's when the Brooklyn Nets can make their move in the fourth quarter. So the key is just keeping it close.
Shivam, I thought you were going to say like palms are going to get sweaty, and then Giannis's weak arms are going to get heavy to the free throw line and stuff like that.
Giannis
That
has had
too.
They're already
spaghetti.
they're already heavy in the free throw lane. So I mean,
Heck of
I
Giannis.
think yeah, hack a Giannis.
I would
So
like
Giannis goes through that entire 8 Mile minimum starting, right? Every time he's on the free throw line, mom spaghetti, about to puke it all out. Like it's all happening every single time.
But I loved your Bollywood movie reference. I got over Giannis at the free throw line. Oh, that's too accurate.
It's sad to see that happening, but it happens all the. So I mean, I want to ask you guys, what do you think about Blake Griffin? Like he has really become, like we all thought he was pretty much washed up, and to see him be like a regular contributor, play like big minutes. Now he's starting, he's finishing. It's incredible to see the transformation. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. No, I didn't either. He's completely turned back the clock, and it just helps that because in Detroit they were paying him $30 million. Okay, Blake, carry us to the playoffs. But now all his role is just getting rebounds, setting hard picks, rolling to the basket, getting the energy plays you saw in game 1, the hustle plays, the extra possessions, and also occasionally make a couple of threes, when you're wide open. So he has a role that's more suited to him in his age now, and he's really embracing that role, and he's doing whatever it takes for him to win. He's a great teammate. He's interacting well with his teammates, and he's a great locker room guy. So Blake Griffin has definitely adjusted well, and he's been a main contributor for this Brooklyn Nets team.
I think it's all about what's in the mind, right? I mean, Detroit, he was not in a happy place. I mean, it was not a great city.
He was asked to carry them, and that's just not. He couldn't do that. Yeah.
No, but I mean, he was asked to carry it maybe 2 years ago when he got traded from the Clippers. But I think everybody realized, including the management of the Pistons as well as him, that he was not that guy anymore. And so automatically his productivity, came down, and he was unattached in terms of not like really motivated enough to play for that team. And now it's a chance for him to win a championship, right? It's a championship or bust kind of team that you go into. So that's all you care for. So automatically the energy comes in, and you have him playing better than what he used to be playing for the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, for sure.
Vinod, look at you casually just insulting all of Detroit. It's not a great city. That's the part that stuck with me. I hope people come and diss you on this live cast. So rude.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reality. I mean, in terms of the team, what I'm trying to say is that it's a long way off for a team like Detroit Pistons can ever come back into even playoff contention.
No, it's done. It's done. The 05, 06 Pistons with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, that's done. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, frankly speaking, I think pretty much Toronto Raptors are falling into the same trap in terms of, I don't know if it was a one-off thing where they won the championship, they had a good run for like about 5 years with D Rosen there, and they were top in the East. But I think they're also going to go that Detroit Pistons route in terms of getting into playoff contention again, unless they trade for somebody, or because Kyle Lowry is pretty much at the older side of things, and I don't think Pascal Siakam and Fred Van Vliet are the answer for your team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. And okay, guys, what about the Clippers Jazz series? It's Paul George. What a performance! Last night he tried to get rid of that nickname Pandemic P. I did not expect him to win that game last night. Against the Jazz. I know Donovan Mitchell didn't look right, but still, what a game! So, what do you think about is going to happen this rest of the series? Do you think the Clippers are going to be able to close it out in Game 6, or do you think this series is going 7?
You never want to put your hope into the Clippers, right? That's something we've learned from many instances in the past. Look, to be honest, when the news came out about Chris Paul and him being held out of that series, and then we saw Atlanta make the comeback and Doc Rivers' team choking, and then we heard about Kawhi Leonard being out, I just thought, I went all in on the Clippers conspiracy theory of they're just cursed. But massive respect to Paul George, right? I think we have to retire the Pandemic P name. He really showed up, and he was like, "I've got this," and the Jazz just choked. I reckon. You can make excuses about Michael being injured and everything, but the Kawhi Leonard-less team should not be winning away from home.
But frankly speaking, are we going to retire that nickname just on basis of one game, or he has to win this series for the Clippers if he has to get rid of that name?
But he's been good the entire series, though. It's not like he's
had mixed games. No, he's been having mixed games. Don't get me wrong.
No.
He's had games where he's shooting 25% from the field this entire playoffs. So he's not been like a very consistent 45% shooter. I mean, that's what you expect from a player like Paul George.
He hasn't quite been Pandemic P. He's been more Epidemic P, up and down, not as bad as a pandemic. But yesterday he showed up. He was regular season P, I think, and I think that's the Paul George we need to see. Just do what you do in the season. He's really good. But I kind of have to side with Kaushik here. I think this is just the Clipper curse giving us hope before this flickers out again, because it'd be the most Clipper thing of all time to now return home with a 3-2 lead, all the momentum. Donovan Mitchell is hobbled. I mean, the Jazz really miss Mike Conley. We saw yesterday just how sort of their offense looked a bit, rugged without him. So I actually would like the Clippers to win, but if I have to put money on it, just based on the history of curses, I think it's gonna be Utah.
But Karan, I have a basic bottom line. If the Clippers do not win Game 6, they're not winning in Utah. They're not winning in Utah twice. It's over.
They're not. If Clippers are not winning Game 6, Kawhi Leonard's winning a Knicks jersey next season.
No, they could have played their last game.
You just wanted to say that, didn't you?
My God. Boom. My God. Oh,
hey, you know what? You know what, Karan? I think you're better off with Julius Randle than Kawhi Leonard.
No, I don't know
what Julius Randle. We saw the under Julius Randle dropped in the round 1 of the playoffs. As much as
his pants dropped, he got exposed in front of everybody.
I respect the hell out of what Julius Randle did this season, but he was atrocious in the playoffs, and
but
it is what it is.
I think that I think it's a great sign for Knicks, because of course they have a lot of money available in terms of maybe trying to sign somebody, but getting into that playoff thing was more like a advertisement. Hey, we got to the playoffs with just a supporting cast of players with Julius Randle. So if we have one more guy, maybe we are a second round team and not a first round playoff team.
I totally agree. This is why the season wasn't that disappointing to me, because I thought the Knicks would finish last in the East, and for them to make the playoffs, have that incredible home crowd that sort of I think every star player wants to play in front of a crowd that cares so much. The fact that the Brooklyn Nets had 3 stars and the New York City cared more about Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickly, it just says a lot about It's true. It
I don't
just
know
says a lot
if I
about
agree
you.
about that. I don't know.
I, I'm saying when the Knicks were in the playoffs, they got more hype than the Nets did, despite having three superstars. I mean, now it's easy to talk about the Nets because the Knicks are out. But wait, when did you become a Nets fan, Shivam? What's going on here? I
At the
should have asked
beginning
this
of the year.
earlier.
I've always been a Kevin Durant fan. I've always been a KD fan because he attended my college UT. But I just this year I became a Nets fan when I picked them to win the championship.
Man, that's like the most bandwagon hopping thing I've ever heard.
No. I've always been a
Hey,
KD fan. I followed him
no.
everywhere.
First of all, you also hopped away from the Clippers bandwagon. I mean, when they were 2-0 against when they were 2-0. I mean, when Dallas was 2-0 in the first round,
Hey, do
you
you
were like,
blame me?
hey, you were like, the Clippers are done. I'm getting off the Clippers bandwagon.
The Clippers curse. I didn't want to ride the ship that it was the Titanic going down. It was inevitable. It was going to hit that iceberg. I didn't want to be part of the Clippers curse.
Hey, that's the problem of having a Spurs fan. Because you can jump from one bandwagon to another.
No.
Because the Spurs.
I've always been Mr. Kumar, a Kevin Durant fan since his days at UT. So I've been following around with OKC to the Warriors to now. I'm a Kevin Durant fan more than a Nets fan.
Shivam, I gotta say the Titanic sinking metaphor is very apt for the Clippers because the Clipper is literally a fast cruising ship. That's what a Clipper means. That's the meaning of the word Clipper. So they are actually very on brand with that metaphor you used.
Appreciate that. Eventually, they're gonna hit that iceberg. Cinderella is the clock's gonna
Every,
strike
every
midnight.
season, every season they should their logo. I don't. Do they have a mascot? Their mascot should be an iceberg because that's what they face every season. Should be a dude in an iceberg costume.
Oh man.
So Kevin Durant has been dominating against Holiday the last couple of moves. Another turnaround jumper, but unable to convert that onto Tecumpo with that rebound. And it's a 70-61 game, 9-point lead, and a foul here by Jeff Green onto Tecumpo, but it's a loose ball foul.
Come on,
So,
that was a charge.
what?
He just ran over. Antetokounmpo just ran over Jeff Green, going for that loose ball. Poor Jeff. Uncle Jeff is down.
No, I think it's unfortunate
Look
foul
at
by
that.
Jeff
Look at
Green.
that. He just
No, he just went for the rebound and
elbow to the face. That was the elbow to the face.
But Jeff Green's hand got entangled. So,
Yeah. What is your
That looks clean to
championship
me.
prediction, Gautam? Who's gonna make it to the finals, and who's gonna win the championship?
I'm gonna go with the Nets. I'm not gonna especially considering how everyone else is sort of dropping. Again, assuming everyone's healthy going forward, or at least the health they are at today, at the knowledge we have today, I'm gonna say the Nets. I really enjoy the Phoenix Suns. I've jumped on their sort of like they have been my playoff team ever since my Knicks went out. I love to see Devin Booker play. So I would love to see Suns Nets final. I want the Suns to win, but you gotta go with Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, okay.
The
I don't know.
championship parade is gonna be a bunch of Knicks fans booing everyone. That's what's gonna happen in New York City. you know this. There's no Nets fans. There's gonna be Knicks fans who's gonna be there booing this whole thing.
Well, maybe there'll be the Kevin Durant fans there. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be Shivam, a bunch of Harden fans.
yeah. Hey, just to remind everybody watching, you have 3 minutes to do. Put your predict and win comments. At the end of this quarter is before that you need to predict the winner and the score line, and whoever is closest, of course, gets the voucher from Patel and Kumar. So please, do it as quickly as possible. 3 more minutes remaining in this quarter, and Kevin Durant once again 63-70 in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Gautam, is Kevin Durant the best player in the NBA now after watching this playoffs? or is he still putting LeBron?
Oh, uh, I haven't had LeBron as the best player in the NBA for a couple of years now. I think
I agree.
it's been I think for the last few years there hasn't been one best guy. There've been stretches of guys who have flickered in and out, but it has to be KD. I think KD was reaching that zenith before his injury. The last years of the Warriors, he was incredible in those playoffs, and to see him return from an Achilles and do this, like, this is unheard of. This is sort of we're in new territory. No one has ever done this before. So I agree. I think KD is the best player in the NBA. Giannis said KD is the best player in the NBA, basically raising a white flag, which is he should have waited till the series was over to say that at least. But yeah, I think KD is number one.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we got to acknowledge. I mean, I am a huge LeBron fan, right? I mean, he was the best player, of course, but I think is coming with age and everything. You just get to a point in your career where you're not the best player on the floor, and even this season, before the season started, I think everybody expected Anthony Davis to make a leap after winning that championship,
for
and
MVP.
maybe
Yeah.
even not MVP either, but at least be the best player on the Lakers. And LeBron, with his skills, because he can play forward, he can play point guard, and be the facilitator and let Anthony Davis take charge. And he was forced to become the best player again at year 19. But your body can only do so much.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually had AD as my preseason MVP vote. I thought, like, this would
We
be
had
the
it
season
too.
he'd take the lead.
We had it too.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's a mix of things, right? Like, A, he's injury prone. B, it's like it's hard for a post player to dominate in that way nowadays. I think unless you're like a regular ball handler. I think even Jokic, who won MVP, is basically the team's point guard in a way. It's a point center. I would say the one exception is Embiid. Embiid is doing things in an old school way, which is why I really want to see him healthy, because it's fun to have a variety of dominant guys. I don't want every great player to be someone who has the ball all the time. But
Yeah.
that said, yeah. So I think that's why the AD thing never worked out. Injuries plus the fact that if LeBron has the ball all the time, it's hard to do better than LeBron in LeBron's team.
Yeah. Mhm.
I
What
think
about you,
just to
Kaushik?
play devil's advocate here, like, until LeBron got injured at the start of the season, he was one of the leading candidates for MVP as well. So I think
He was
it's a
second.
bit,
Yeah.
it's a bit early to write him off. Like, the context of how he went out and how sort of unfavorable the situation was for him in these playoffs. I think we need to keep that in mind before we anoint the fact that there is a vacant throne. I think for as long as LeBron's there and things are, you need to overcome the throne.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Durant has as good a shot as anybody else, because he's done it against him, right? But then there's the factor that he played for a stacked Golden State team. So I think, like, if it happened this year, where, like, the Nets overcame the Lakers, then I think the throne is well and truly Kevin Durant's. But I think it's still, like, in a flux. There's a lot of people in there. Kevin Durant's the leading candidate. LeBron, you can never count him out. Obviously, I'm going to rep my boy Luka. There'll be a time when he's there. But it's a great time to be in the NBA.
A lot of young stars. That's a great thing about these playoffs is you're kind of seeing the future of the NBA. Trey Young, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic. So you're seeing a lot of great players stepping up that are young and up and coming stars. So I got to ask you guys about the All NBA team. What are your thoughts about that? I know, Karan, you're happy that Julius Randle made it. Of course, your New York Knicks. But what are your thoughts? Any snubs that you think that that should have made it that didn't?
Again, if I'm trying to be unbiased, I was kind of surprised Julius Randle made the All NBA second team. Like, I don't think he deserved it all the way up there. He had a pretty good season. I feel the snubs are probably I would say Devin Booker is a snub. I guess it's hard to say, because it's about who are you going to take out. It's not just about who you're going to put in, like, who doesn't belong there, right? I actually feel LeBron shouldn't have made it this year. I mean, again, I agree with Kaushik that he was literally the second in the MVP thing. He would have been All NBA first team had he been healthy all season. But we have to take those injuries into account. So we probably should take him out. maybe Jason Tatum is a snub, but I'm mostly okay with it. I don't know, Kaushik, what do you think?
Maybe Donovan
Yeah,
Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was his regular season performance. And they had the best record in the league. He was a possible snub. But go ahead, Kaushik.
it's just been such a strange season with so many players out due to injuries and like COVID protocols and stuff like that. I think um, it's hard to remove anybody that currently exists, right? Because you got to. I think those are the rules. If you say somebody is a snub, you got to be willing to take someone out as well. And like just like Karan, I can't
Jimmy
think of an
Butler.
obvious candidate. Yeah, fair. And like I think there's a case where LeBron probably shouldn't make it as well because
Yeah.
he didn't play a big chunk of games, right? So how do you evaluate all of that stuff? I'm okay with it. Like I think if you can actually go like 15 teams deep and you'll find someone saying that somebody in the 16th team should have been in the 15th team and he's been snubbed and stuff like that. It's just we have a stacked league and no matter where you draw the line in terms of a cutoff, you'll find someone being snubbed.
Yeah. And before we let you guys go, tell us more about what you guys do, with the Hoopdarshan podcasts.
Cool. Hoopdarshan podcast is something that Karan and I started about 7 years ago right now, I'd say. And it's something where we realized that there wasn't necessarily anything in terms of media for like specifically Indian basketball. So we mix it up in the show, of course. We chat a little bit of NBA, we chat a little bit of like whatever hoops is going around in the world. But our primary focus has always been to have a platform for Indian basketball where we bring on the people involved in it, the players, the coaches, the administrators, the referees, like all sorts of different types of personalities that have come on, and we get a glimpse into their worlds, which obviously mainstream media doesn't cover, right? Because we all know like the top 5 sports in India are all cricket and everything else, maybe even the top 10, and then it's everything else. So Karan and I, we enjoy a chat. We've met a couple of times in person, and I think we sort of get along in the same kind of wavelength. So the way we kind of tell our guests to be comfortable on the podcast is imagine we're just having a beer talking about basketball, and it's led to some fantastic conversations.
Awesome. We'll go check them out. They're doing great stuff. That's a great podcast to listen to. You can find them all their information about their podcast and follow them on social media, all in the Eklavias YouTube description. So thank you, Karan. Thank you, Kaushik. Enjoy the rest of the game, guys. Great to see
Thanks
you.
for
having us,
us.
guys.
It's so much fun.
All right, Mr. Kumar. We're getting to the end of the third quarter. So last chance for this giveaway.
And that's the end of the third
Oh.
quarter. Come on, guys. Rush in with your entries for the winner and the score line. What's it going to be? Right now, it is a 9-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks. We got
11. They counted that basket. They counted
They
it.
counted the basket? Okay, so that makes it 11-point game. So what's it going to be? I had predicted right at the beginning that it is going to be a 111, 108 game, but I don't think both teams are going to score 40, 50 points in this quarter. So what's the final prediction for you, Mr. Patel?
Well, my pregame prediction is not looking too good right now at all on both ends. First of all, the Nets winning, which doesn't look good at all. And then I said 116 to 111. Well, it's a low-scoring game, So as you may have predicted, I think Kaushik said that it was going to be a low-scoring game, so he was right on that. So right now the Bucks are winning 78 to 67. So it looks like I'm going to be wrong, but hey, there's still another game to play, Mr. Kumar. But another just quick analogy. Yeah, again, so thank you everybody for that. Participated in the giveaway. The clock has officially expired now. Here we're at the end of the third quarter. Stay tuned for the rest of the game because we will announce the winner at the end of this game. So let's see who's going to win. Thank you everybody again for tuning in. Thank you for your questions, your comments. We're having a lot of fun here so far, but another badly close quarter by the Nets, Mr. Kumar. The Nets cut it down to 5. And the Bucks missed shot. PJ Tucker gets the rebound. Middleton makes it 3. So I didn't like how they ended at all this third quarter, like they did at the first half. It was going to cost them. And Rakesh is saying that the Bucks will win by 5, 103-98. Thank you for your prediction, Rakesh, and thank you for tuning in as we are in the final quarter. Will this be the final quarter of the Bucks season, or will we have a Game 7 Saturday night in the U.S. Sunday morning in India. A win or take all game 7. I'm hoping that the Nets finish it off tonight. Mr. Kumar is crossing his fingers that the Bucks are able to finish it out
Yeah.
tonight. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to take a very short break and be back with you. And I'll leave you alone with Mr. Patel for a few minutes before I come in and start the fourth quarter. And it's a win or go home for the Milwaukee Bucks. And if they win, we'll have a game 7 coming up. So give me a few minutes.
All right, I'm gonna have a heart to heart. Let's go, Nets fans. Come on, we're still in this game. In the last game, we were down practically the whole game, and we were able to come back and win this game. Unfortunately, at the end of the third quarter, it was a little closer than it was now. But let's hope that we're able to cut into this victory. Prashant, thank you for tuning in. And he is saying that the Bucks will win by 10 to 12 points. Well, Prashant, it looks like your prediction is online so far. Let's see if this continues. But yeah, there was an interesting, thing that I saw on ESPN that says choose your Kevin Durant. So, of course, his college days with the University of Texas, the school I attended. I'm an alumni there. The Supersonics, his team that he was drafted by in the NBA, with Russell Westbrook, as well as the Oklahoma City Thunder, who he was with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and even Reggie Jackson and Serge Ibaka. His run with the Warriors, which he was with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, which he won his 2 championships. Then the Brooklyn Nets now, which he was with James Harden and Kyrie Irving. So for me, I would have to say it has to be the Golden State Warriors, because first of all, those were his prime years. With OKC, he was a little young still, inexperienced. They blew that 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and that's what he chose to ended up taking his talents to the Bay Area. But I think it has to be the Warriors, because you have to forget that in 2016, the Warriors had a 3-1 lead against the Cavs, and they completely blew it. And this was with Steph, Klay, and Draymond. And there was that story that after that game, Draymond cried in the parking lot, calling KD, begging him to join this Golden State Warriors team. And when Kevin Durant came, he was the best player on the Warriors. I don't care. I don't want people to continue to say, Steph Curry. Yes, he was outstanding, but Kevin Durant was the best player. He's the one that was the engine for the Golden State Warriors, and he's the one that allowed them to get those 2 championships games. The 2 championship titles. I understand that they had a super team. Yes, they did, but they still needed Kevin Durant's closing ability, and it showed in Game 3 in 2017 at LeBron's house when he hit that dagger 3 right in LeBron's face, and that was when you started to see how clutch Kevin Durant was. And I think then he just played unbelievable with the Warriors. He started scoring at all 3 phases of the game. Mid-range 3 and getting to the basket. He was able to get to the free throw line. He was over a 90% free throw shooter. He played defense with the Warriors. That was also key, because before at OKC, he would pick and choose the spots that he wanted to play defense. Well, he was a lockdown defender for the Warriors. He would take their best player. So I think that the best Kevin Durant has to be the Golden State Warriors. Maybe in a couple of years we'll look after he has a couple of championships with the Nets that we'll think it's with the Brooklyn Nets. But right now, if I had to choose, it would be with the Golden State Warriors. And right now the Bucks are going on a little run, 82-67. Durant with that turnover. So the Bucks fans are getting pretty rowdy. They can taste the victory. They're very close to winning this game. Again, 12 turnovers for the Brooklyn Nets to only 8 for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're taking care of the ball a lot better, and that's why they had this big lead.
Let's see what's going to happen at the end of this game, and you have a chance to win a nice little gift voucher sponsored by Patel and Kumar.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant with the 3.
It's a little bit too late here. Looks, but let's see what's going to happen. They can still make a little run. They have one more run left in them. Let's see if they could start it on the defensive end of the floor.
Drew Holiday there with a 3, but unable to convert, and James Harden with a rebound. So a 12-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks. Can they hold on to this lead? Or will it be Kevin Durant with another 3, but this time unable to convert? Almost a turnover for Milwaukee Bucks. Kevin Durant going inside and making that layup, and a 10-point lead, and Mike Budenholzer calling for a timeout. 82-72, 9 minutes and 36 seconds left for the end of this Game 6 between Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets.
Kevin Durant's brother was pretty hyped after watching that 3. Man, what happened to James Harden? What happened to Blake Griffin? What happened to Joe Harris? He needs some help. It's right now just the Kevin Durant show. He's going to have some people join him in the party and ride along if the Nets want any chance of stealing this victory. Right now, it's just Kevin Durant or bust. So we need the role players to step up. Come on, guys. You can't just have Kevin Durant just do it all by himself. Giannis is getting that support. He's getting Chris Middleton, PJ Tucker, Drew Holiday, even Lopez. And Kevin Durant is not. So if they don't step up, then the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to play a Game 7.
Absolutely. I mean, I think sometimes you just fall into that trap, especially after that epic performance by Kevin Durant in the last game. People can repeat those kind of performances, but those kind of performances take a toll on you, and it's not easy in this particular league to basically go out and score 49 points or dominate the game again, because the teams make a lot of adjustments, and it's just not the same story. As you rightly said, somebody has to step up for the Brooklyn Nets, whether it's James Harden or Jeff Green or Joe Harris. Joe Harris has been pretty much
a lost
absent.
cause. He's a lost cause.
Has been absent pretty much this entire postseason for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, he had a good in his defense. I'll defend him here. He had a good series against the Celtics, but there was really no pressure on that series. The Nets were never threatened. In this series, after Game 1 and Game 2, I don't know what happened. He's just been brick city. He's building more skyscrapers in Manhattan with all those bricks. That he's shooting. It's just been pitiful performance by Joe Harris, and James Harden is playing well, but I think he's complaining to the refs too much. I know you were watching Mr. Kumar when he was shooting those threes. No one even touched him, and he fell down wanting a foul call. Man, just shoot the shot. Focus on making it instead of the fouls. Come on, James Harden. You could re-aggravate your hamstring that way, Mr. Kumar. With the hamstring, any weird movement, it happens, you're done. So he needs to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason the competition committee also is going to look into the rules, and especially when these kind of players take advantage of their positions and trying to get to the free throw lane by faking or flopping, as they would say in the NBA. But I mean, that's exactly what it did a little while earlier, towards the end of that third quarter. So far today, Kevin Durant has not been really hot from the three-point line. He's only 2 of 7. He's shooting 14 of 27 from the field for 30 points. He's got 35 points tonight. 30 points tonight on 35 minutes played. As you rightly said, somebody needs to step up for the Brooklyn Nets.
And he's not an efficient. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Milwaukee Bucks just need to distribute the ball better.
He's not as efficient. Last game, he took 23 shots to get 49 points. This game, he's taking 27 shots to get 30 points. So he's not been that same efficient Kevin Durant as he was in the last game.
Another steal by James Harden here on Chris Middleton. Joe Harris.
Wow.
No, I think they called a foul on the floor before Joe Harris could launch.
Did he actually make it? No.
No, he did not.
I would have been like, that's the most Joe Harris thing ever. Make a shot when it doesn't count the first time and then make a shot again when it doesn't count. That would have been so Joe Harris, Mr. Kumar.
So 8 steals for Brooklyn Nets in this
Or
game,
by
and
Harden.
and 9 steals by the Milwaukee Bucks. Joe Harris here finally gets inside and makes a layup.
Hallelujah! Joe Harris makes a shot.
8 point lead. Giannis gets inside but unable to finish.
Foul or no foul?
No foul. So James Harden, no, and it's almost a turnover. Again,
Ooh.
another almost a turnover, but
That
the
was
Brooklyn
lucky.
Nets will roll it back. Yeah, that was a lucky. It rolled off the fingertips of Connaughton.
So James Harden's going to be inbounding.
Joe Harris finally makes it a 3.
Joey
5-point
Buckets.
game.
He's
It's a
turning into Joey
5-point game.
Buckets.
5-point game. He is 1 of 4 from the 3-point line. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are just playing into the hands of the Brooklyn Nets. They're not distributing the
almost
ball.
a steal by Kevin Durant. Oh. I'm getting way too hyped up here, but I'm just hoping that they win.
Is it going to be the end of the season for the Milwaukee Bucks? And a foul here, and Chris Middleton goes to the free throw lane for 3 free throws.
Are they going to challenge it? James Harden is vouching for Steve Nash to challenge that call, but we'll see.
I think it was definitely a foul, but I don't think they're going to challenge it to see whether it was like a. So they call a timeout, and they are going to definitely challenge.
I couldn't see that. I couldn't see it, Mr. Kumar. I couldn't see a close view. I didn't know if it was a foul or not. It was too hard to tell, you know.
Yeah, I think they're going to do that right now.
James Harden was adamant after that call, directly going to Steve Nash doing the challenge.
Yeah, I think it's an easy call. I think they're definitely going to call for a shooting foul.
He slapped him across the wrist, across the arm. That's a foul. That's a foul. Bad challenge by the Nets. They gotta.
Yeah, I don't know why you would challenge that because you wasted timeout, and you would probably want save that challenge for maybe a more crucial time. But
and James Harden does that same exact move where he basically, puts his arm underneath the defender's arm and he gets that call. So I don't know why James Harden is so adamant about that when he does that same exact thing.
And that's probably one of the reasons probably Steve Nash got convinced to maybe challenge that call because James Harden was the one trying to convince him to take a timeout and challenge.
So yeah, back to the competition committee. So yeah, they're also trying to change, the Trae Young, where basically he just jumps into the defender. When he's able to draw the foul, he gets into their airspace. They're trying to eliminate that because they feel like the offensive player has such an advantage nowadays where the defensive player has a right to his space, but the offensive player jumps into his space. So they're trying to eliminate that. They're trying to clean that up, make the game play at a faster pace, and give some advantages to the defense. So let's see what's going to happen. It has to be approved by the owners, so that might be a possible offseason change, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, you never know. But right now, it's a 5-point game for the Milwaukee Bucks. They had almost a 12-point lead just a short while back. The lead was almost up to 15 at the beginning of this quarter. And, of course, I can see a few dogs walking by in your background. And
so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm right now at a hotel lobby. It's a very happening place. I've already gotten a couple of people trying to tell me not to get us hyped, but I'm never going to calm down as my Brooklyn Nets. So, and yeah, there's people all over. There's some dogs, there's kids, there's everybody. It's a happening place. So, a lot going on here. I'm in Dallas, Texas currently. COVID right now is an afterthought here in the U.S. So a lot happening for sure. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, Mr. Kumar, or ladies and gentlemen.
I can little bit. Yes, I can. And So you're having a gala time out there in Dallas, and while I am cooped up inside my home watching this game because it's bright and early. It's a very rainy morning in Mumbai, and so the monsoons have pretty much kicked in with full force.
Yeah. I hope everybody is staying safe. They're in India.
So, but yeah, I mean, we have a blockbuster of sports events tomorrow. That is Saturday, starting with the NBA playoffs early in the morning. Then we have the World Test Championship being played between India and New Zealand. And then, of course, at the later part of the evening is where we have the Euro soccer. So, it's like a day of sporting events tomorrow.
Oh man, but Mr. Kumar, you're gonna have to make up for it. You're gonna have to, celebrate your wife's birthday. So I don't know if you're able to watch a lot of these events.
It's tomorrow. Tomorrow is.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow's lineup. And pretty much today as well, because the World Test Championship starts today, and then we have the Euro Soccer games tonight. But tomorrow, some marquee games. I think tomorrow we'll have the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks playing, and then the Clippers and the Jazz. Again, both teams, that is the 76ers and the Jazz, looking to probably force game sevens, or it's, we don't know what's it going to be. But here it's 85-77, 8-point lead.
The call, by the way, was confirmed, and Chris Middleton ended up making three-pointers. I don't know if you saw Mr. Kumar Nash's face towards Harden once they made that call. Like, he's like, really? You made me challenge that?
Another three-point attempt by Harden.
Just short.
And Drew Holiday kicks it to the rim, and an easy left-hand layup
on Jeff Green.
Back to 10-point game. He's 19 points.
Every time you think, Mr. Kumar, the Bucks cut it to 5 or 6 points, and the Nets, cut it to 5 or 6 points, the Bucks go on a little run and extend that lead again to double digits.
So a hard foul here on Antetokounmpo by Kevin Durant. Are they going to reveal this? Are they going to reveal this or not? I don't know.
It was a play on the ball. It was just a little hard foul, but it was a play on the ball.
And another turnover here for the Brooklyn Nets.
Nice steal by PJ Tucker. Kevin Durant tried to feed Jeff Green on that pick and roll, but PJ Tucker read it all the way and ended up giving it to Giannis, and Kevin Durant fouled him, and Giannis will be going to the line shooting 2 free throws.
But I think it's a better gamble to put him on the line than, probably, invite him to come inside the paint.
Exactly. No, Rakesh, he's saying it must be a flagrant one. I disagree. It's just a common foul.
And it's he converts the first one, so that's 50-50 chance that he converts. So 88-77, back to 11-point game. 7 minutes, 30 seconds left.
It's not looking good here for my Brooklyn Nets, Mr. Kumar.
Oh, wow. I mean, there's a lot of time left, and, you cannot say anything about this Brooklyn Nets team. Just a couple of threes here and there. And in a rare occasion, Giannis makes both free throws. And makes
he deserves a standing ovation. He deserves a stand. Good job, Giannis. Good job as a Nuts fan. Congrats.
And the ball is stripped from Jeff Green. Giannis. And it's a blocking foul and 18-point game, and another free throw for Giannis.
That was I disagree with that. He was set, Mr. Kumar. Joe Harris. I thought he beat him to the spot and he was set.
Yeah, but they wasted that challenge, so they can't do anything. But it's a very 50-50 call. I think Joe Harris was still moving. He was not like really standing. You can see that he was just shuffling a little bit. So it's called as a blocking foul, and Giannis makes him pay for that. And he goes to the free throw line.
But Mr. Kumar, you can still be moving, but as long as you establish legal guarding position, I thought he established legal guarding position, beat Giannis to the spot. But
That's what, if you're sliding, you are not in a legal guarding position unless you take him chest on. Even if you're moving a little bit, it's a 15-point game. And once again, another free throw made by Giannis.
3 in a row.
3 in a row, and a miss by Landry Shamet.
So Giannis brings it back up the court, attacks Jeff Green, misses the shot, but Drew Holiday misses the follow. But it is a foul.
A hustle play right there by both teams. Both teams showing that they want to win this game. Landry Shamet here misses. And Drew Holiday goes to the free throw line. 16-point game. Of course, if the Bucks win this game, Game 7 is going to be in Brooklyn.
(94-77), Milwaukee Bucks, 6:49 left.
That's a bad shot by Kevin Durant. I think he's forcing himself now. And, you can see from the body language of the Brooklyn Nets that they are giving it up. Nice rebound by Antetokounmpo, and he slams it. Slams it and makes it a 19-point game with 6 minutes and 24 seconds left. I know Hitesh Ranglani at the beginning of this game had predicted that it would be a 20-point win for the Milwaukee Bucks, and maybe his prediction is coming true. So a 19-point lead for the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Nets fans are going to be a little bit tense. It's not easy to make a comeback.
We still got Game 7. We still got Game 7 in our house. But yeah, Hitesh is saying I got the Bucks winning by 20. Hey, Hitesh, your prediction is looking good so far. So let's see if it will sustain. I think Steve Nash should just take out the starters. Just wave the white towel, call it a day, go on to Game 7.
No, I think there's still some time left. I think
it's over.
At least I think they're going to push till at least the 4-minute, 3-minute mark. Try to see if they can make a run here.
Oh my bad. Oh my bad. That was Ekalavias' prediction, not Hitesh. So good job, Ekalavias. Your prediction is looking good so far. And let's see if it will sustain. So yeah, sorry about that, but good job, Ekalavias. So
yeah, but Ekalavias doesn't qualify for the voucher because he's part of the production team.
No, he doesn't qualify, but he has bragging rights on the team, right? So that's his reward. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's still out there. Who's going to win? I think, Mr. Kumar, the reason why you pull them is you're not going to win this game, first of all. You have like a less than 1% chance to win this game. And you've already dealt with so many.
I know, but the same thing happened. I think Atlanta Hawks had like a 0.3% chance of winning the game yesterday, but, they did that. So, it's possible. It's possible, but the way the Brooklyn Nets are playing, it's looks difficult because right now they're forcing some shots. Kevin Durant again with an easy layup there and cuts it to a 17-point lead. Just slow down the game for the Milwaukee Bucks. Use up the shot clock as much as possible, and try to take some good percentage shots.
No, don't get me wrong. For our selfish reasons for the PNK watch party, I want to see them go to the end of the game. But the logical reason, you don't want to get another sprained ankle. You've already dealt with so many injuries. I don't think you want to take that chance.
And another turnover here almost for the Brooklyn Nets. And it is a turnover, and the ball goes the other way. Kevin Durant trying to pretty much do everything by himself, and that is the story of this game so far. There's not been any kind of support like what they had like last game from Jeff Green. James Harden has gone cold in this particular quarter. 17 points.
There's not enough time left, but let's just see what can happen.
And Kevin Durant missing again. Connaughton with that screen. Chris Middleton gets a switch onto James Harden. He attempts a three and he converts and one. A 4-point play opportunity here. James Harden getting his own medicine.
That was not a
point play.
That was not a foul. Chris Middleton kicked his leg out, but
hey, that's the way. That's the same way James Harden does it. And no, it is a foul because James Harden tried to come into the position where Chris Middleton.
He kicks his leg. Look, and he kicks his
leg.
No,
but there's no contact when he kicks his leg. There is a contact when James Harden tries to undercut him by coming into his landing position, and that's the reason the foul is called. And this is the same exact play that James Harden does all the time. He does it all the time, and he gets away with it. And this time, James Harden gets a taste of his own medicine.
But James Harden, Chris Middleton, superstar, star. James Harden deserves to get. I don't know. Chris Middleton flopped.
Deserves? I don't think he deserves. He just gets the call. He just makes it. He sells the call. More like it.
But that's what Chris Middleton did. That he basically just flopped. He just fell down afterwards. He didn't even get hit that hard. I thought that was but nevertheless, 99-79, Milwaukee Bucks.
The largest lead of the game so far for the Milwaukee Bucks. The 20-point lead with only about 5 minutes remaining in this game. Kevin Durant has 32 points. Chris Middleton with 35. And Giannis with 30. And especially, he's been good with the free throws in this particular quarter.
He has. They're getting to the foul line. There's been some questionable calls in this fourth quarter, in my opinion, that Joe Harris charged, and then that last call. But, hey, maybe the NBA wants a Game 7, Mr. Kumar. But, hey, the Bucks are the aggressor, and they're getting those calls as a result.
$15 of 34.
Bhushan is joining the party. He's saying, go Bucks. So he is falling with Mr. Kumar. So good morning, Bhushan. Welcome to the P&K Watch Party.
Good morning, Bhushan, and welcome. And 15 of 30 shooting for Kevin Durant. He's not been the same as what he was in the last game. He's only 2 of 8 from the 3-point line.
Man. It's all right. I'm glad.
And can you believe it? And can you believe it? He's had 2 free throws and he's missed 2 free throws. So he's 0 of 2 from the free throw lane.
Well, he's not attacking because he's getting hacked on the other end, but they're not calling it for Kevin Durant, but they're calling it for Chris Middleton.
That's the white towel thrown in by Steve Nash. He's pretty much taken all the starters. And you have, Tyler Johnson coming in. Chris Middleton for his 37th point of the game. He's been phenomenal. 38 points, on 11 of 16 shooting. So timeout taken by Budenholzer, and he will also probably sit out his stars. And looks like we have a Game 7 on our cards at Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, looks like a Game 7. Bucks were making everything in this game. Nets were struggling. It's only Kevin Durant. Let's hope that they can come back and win a Game 7. So we'll see what's going to happen. I feel like in the Game 7, all the pressure is going to be on the Milwaukee Bucks to win that Game 7 because, with the Brooklyn Nets injuries, with James Harden still injured, and Kevin Durant, as a one man show, the expectation is the Bucks should win this series. So all the pressure is going to be on the Bucks in Game 7. The Nets can play loose at home, and hopefully they'll be able to pull it out.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I mean, you would have expected the Bucks to probably win the last game, but an epic performance by Kevin Durant, basically saved the season for the Nets, especially when Kyrie Irving went out and James Harden was just getting back from his hamstring injury. But a good show by the Milwaukee Bucks on the defensive end as well as on the offensive end. They dominated from the paint, and that's what the story is about in this particular game. And that's probably the reason you're seeing a Bucks victory and forcing a Game 7 day after tomorrow.
Yeah, and Ekalavia, shout out for giving us the stats. All Nets players except Bruce Brown have a negative plus minus. That's just the story of the game, so far. And everybody, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Ekalavia YouTube channel where you can watch every episode of the Patel Kumar Show. And also like, share, and subscribe to the Patel Kumar Sports YouTube channel. Also follow the Patel and Kumar Instagram and Twitter page at Patel and Kumar. And Mr. Kumar, let's give as the game is pretty much one-sided now, it's over. Let's give a quick shout out to our show. So those of you that are watching the first time, me and Mr. Kumar come on for our show every Thursday. Of course, this Thursday we didn't do the show because of this winner go home Game 6. And this is our fourth watch party that we've done. We did the Suns Lakers game the last time, and then now this Nets Bucks game. But our regular show is every Thursday night India time at 7 p.m. India time. You can watch it on the Ekalavias and Patel Kumar Sports YouTube channel. We talk about all the storylines of the NBA. Me and Mr. Kumar. I'm a little biased, but I think we're the best analysts out there. We give a great perspective, great predictions. We have a lot of fun, Mr. Kumar. I think you would agree. You would agree on that. We play a lot of games. We just have a great time in the Patel and Kumar show. So if you guys are interested, if you enjoyed hearing what me and Mr. Kumar had to say tonight, be sure to check out our episodes. You can watch them live and on demand. And we'll be back next Thursday night in India time. The Patel and Kumar NBA Talk Show. We are India's first and only live YouTube talk show. So be sure to join the fun of the Patel and Kumar NBA Talk Show.
Absolutely. You're right on. We are the best analysts on YouTube, hopefully, but just 2 minutes and 31 seconds remaining. It's a 15-point game. And the Bucks will go in a little bit happy that they were able to force a Game 7 at the Brooklyn Nets arena, Barclays Center. Patel
thank
and
you,
Kumar,
Bhushan.
much for all the NBA fans. Highly recommend. Thank you,
Thank
Bhushan.
you. Thank you.
And of course, we will be announcing the winner of the predicted win contest as well very shortly after the game. We're just waiting for the final score now.
Yeah, we have some people that are there, in great contention for this, for this contest. So let's see who's going to end up winning. So a couple more key stats as we are officially in garbage time, Mr. Kumar, ending this game. The Bucks out-rebounded the Nets 47 to 35. And Giannis is 6 of 10 from the free throw line. I know that might not sound as good, but hey, that's better than what he's been doing in the past. Maybe Ben Simmons needs to replicate that tomorrow night. And again, the other games out there in the playoffs. So, of course, we know, Mr. Kumar, that the Phoenix Suns have already advanced to the Western Conference Finals. We're waiting on the other matchup. It is the Jazz and the Clippers. The Clippers ended up winning last night, Game 5, so they lead the series 3-2. Game 6 is tomorrow in LA. Let's see who's going to win that series. And then the other series in the Eastern Conference is going to be the Hawks and the Sixers. The Hawks ended up winning last night, coming back from 26 points and 18 points. So the Sixers have to win a Game 6 in Atlanta. And then, of course, with the Bucks and the Nets here, the series is about to be tied 3-3 with the winner go home, winner go home game, Game 7 on Saturday night, U.S. time in Brooklyn. So let's see who's going to take home that series.
Yeah, and the story for the Milwaukee Bucks, the hero today, Chris Middleton with 38 points on 11 of 16 shooting from the field, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. and 11 of 12 from the free throw lane. And that's a dominating performance by Chris Middleton, 30 points from Antetokounmpo, and a good support from Drew Holiday with 21 points in 43 minutes of play. And Kevin Durant's pace says it all. And they got to run it again in Game 7. James Harden, again, not too effective in that fourth quarter. I think he was good in the second quarter when Kevin Durant was taking a little bit of rest. Just 43 seconds left, and it's a 14-point game so far.
Yeah, and double doubles. Giannis with 30 points, 17 rebounds. Kevin Durant with 32 and 11. But it was a quiet 32 and 11. I know Mr. Kumar agrees with me on that with Kevin Durant. Some other stats I would like to read.
Yeah, he's like 2 of 8 from the 3-point line.
Yeah. So some other stats I would like to read. So field goal percentage, it was equal. Both teams shot 46%. Nets made 9 threes. Bucks made 7. The free throw line was huge. 23 for 28 for the Bucks, for 8 of 14 for the Brooklyn Nets. 16 turnovers for the Nets to 13 for the Bucks. Assists were tied. We already told you about the rebounding. 5 blocks for the Bucks to 1 blocks for the Nets. 12 steals for the Bucks to 11 steals for the Brooklyn Nets. So it was dominated in all facets of the game by the Milwaukee Bucks team, and they tied it 3-3 going into a Game 7. So, ladies and gentlemen, who's going to win this giveaway? We're so excited to announce this.
15-point. I think it's going to be a 15-point game. We know.
Let's see if Thanasis can take up a shot. Let's see if he's going to shoot.
No, they're not going to take a shot. They're not going to take a shot. So, is it going to be the last and final game for the Bucks at the Fiserv Forum?
It is. It is for sure. I can say that confidently.
And that's the question. Or is it going to be a premature end to the Brooklyn Nets season, who were basically... So the final score is 104-89 in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. A 15-point game for the Milwaukee Bucks. A dominating performance by Giannis and Chris Middleton, and a subdued performance by Kevin Durant and James Harden. So we will wait for our producers to give us
the winner
of this contest, and we will take down his details later and send him the gift voucher.
Yep. So let's just give just a few minutes. So yeah, we had so many great entries, so many great people that were able to tune in and give their predictions, what they think the scoreline was at the margin of victory, and we had some great comments. Again, we had thank you again, Justin Termine, NBA radio host. Then thank you, Hoopdarshan, Kaushik, and Karan for joining us for this watch party. And Bhushan looks like he's doing jumping jacks there. He's so happy for the Giannis and the Bucks. His Lakers unfortunately are out of the playoffs, like Mr. Kumar's Lakers. So will my team be out of the playoffs or not? That's the big question here. So
what's the story with Bobby Portis? I didn't see him coming into the game today.
That's
Maybe
2 games at DNPs.
Yeah, I mean, is he injured or is he? I think because it's really surprising to see somebody like a Bobby Portis not check into the game. So maybe it is, maybe an injury case or something.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. And let's see, Mr. Kumar, another big thing is Kyrie Irving's status for Game 7. I don't know if he's going to try to tough it out and play, or is it just going to be Harden and Kevin Durant? That's going to be another big storyline going into Game 7 of the series.
Any news on what's happening with Kyrie Irving for Game 7, or is he going to be out for this series?
I think he's going to be out. I personally think he's going to be out for the series because he ended up in a walking boot and on crutches, and after Game 4. It didn't look good for him. There was a report by Woj that said the expectation was that he was going to be out for the rest of this series at least. So I don't know. We'll see, And yeah, Bhushan is commenting about the coaching vacancies, and he says, "Yeah, the big news today, the bombshell that broke out today was Rick Carlisle, coached for 13 years with the Mavericks, winning a championship in 2011, beating LeBron." He said, "What will be the next destination for Rick?" Well, he's going to be a hot commodity for sure. And I'll give you two destinations I think Rick Carlisle can go to. I think the Portland Trailblazers with Dame Lillard, or Mr. Kumar if the Bucks lose this series. I can see him with the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis needs a veteran coach, and I see him with the Blazers or the Bucks. If there's a coaching vacancy with the Bucks, of course.
Yeah, and there's also coaching vacancies in New Orleans with Stan Van Gundy being fired. And of course, there's a vacancy in Orlando Magic, which is in kind of a rebuild mode. And
But that's a good job though, because they have Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz. That's actually a pretty good job, and they'll be patient with you.
And of course, there's also opening in Boston Celtics with Brad Stevens getting elevated to the president of the organization after Danny Ainge retired, just recently. So there's a lot of good coaching opportunities there.
Pacers, Wizards, Celtics, yeah, everybody, yeah. So as we're still waiting, we're still waiting. It's
winner
in.
Of the contest.
Okay, drum roll, please. Mr. Kumar, I'll let you announce the winner.
Well, the winner of the contest is Rakesh Maheshwari. Congratulations to Rakesh on winning the gift voucher from Patel and Kumar. We will contact you shortly and take down the details and probably, give you and reach out the gift voucher pretty soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching this live watch party, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference playoff between Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks. The final score, 104-89, tying the series 3-3, forcing a Game 7. Of course, we have two more series, which needs to be decided. 3-2 up, Atlanta Hawks against the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Clippers winning against the Utah Jazz yesterday. So those games will be tomorrow. But right now, it's Game 7 for the Bucks and the Nets.
Yep, Game 7 for the Bucks and the Nets. Congratulations, Rakesh. Thank you, everybody, so much again for tuning in to this watch party. We had so much fun. Great interaction, great engagement. Mr. Kumar is going to have a party all day that the Milwaukee Bucks won. His prediction is still alive. I'm going to go to sleep sad that my Brooklyn Nets are now in a do-or-die position. But again, congratulations, Rakesh. We'll get your information. We'll send that voucher to you. Thank you, everybody, again, for tuning into this watch party. Be sure you can watch every episode of the Patel and Kumar Show or the watch party on the Ekalavias YouTube channel and the Patel Pick and Roll Sports YouTube channel. You can watch our show live and on demand. And be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Patel and Kumar. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm here in Dallas, Texas. I'm actually, Mr. Kumar, going to see Bronny James this weekend. I'm going to be covering a tournament that Bronny James is going to be part of. So I'm excited to be able to meet him face to face. Hopefully LeBron will be there.
Yeah, hopefully LeBron will be there. Exactly.
So if I get to meet LeBron James, oh man, what a weekend that would be. But again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for a great watch party. And thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and have a very good day. Hope to see you back very, very soon. Till then, be safe and, enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Thank you.
Yep. Peace.